Hare Krishna and welcome and thank you everyone for joining today's Bhagavad Gita session. We have very interesting session coming up today. It's titled as Gahana Karmano Gati. चौथे अध्याय भगवत गीता में एक श्लोक आता है 17वें श्लोक में भगवान when Krishna is explaining about karma, vikarma and akarma, he says this that Gahana Karmano Gati कि intricacies are of karma are very difficult to understand. It's not impossible, but at our level of intelligence for human beings, as long as they are in the human body, it is very difficult to understand. गहन गहन मतलब बहुत जटिल, बहुत मुश्किल to understand. So Krishna is saying this and we will do a deep dive on this particular statement to understand from few instances from our scriptures what really it means and how we can what we can learn out of it, how we can apply it in our life. The statement of Gahana Karmanogati. So let's begin our session. Again, as I said, uh, all 44 of you should have dedicated time kept aside for attending this session. You will not be able to do you will not be able to do a lot of multitasking. I don't expect you to do multitasking. Focus on the class. There's a lot to pick up, lot to learn, and and lot to contribute. There will be multiple opportunities you will have where you can actually contribute in the you can speak, or you can chat, or you can give your inputs so that we understand what how is your understanding shaping up. So Gahana Karmanogati, and we will look at a situation in from Bhagavatam. This is picked up from Srimad Bhagavatam. We are looking at a situation when the Kurukshetra war was over. And Bhagavatam first canto deals with all these verses comes from the first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. When the Kurukshetra war was over and the Pandavas went and met with had a meeting with Dhritarashtra and Gandhari. As you can see here, there's Pandavas are there. Lord Shri Krishna is there with them, and Vyasdev is also there. And in his presence, they all went to Hastinapur to meet Dhritarashtra. As you all are aware, or you might be knowing, the war was fought on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, where Pandavas and the Kuru army, Kauravas, they all assembled. Uh, Pandavas were predominantly led by Pandavas were the five brothers, and all the kings who were supporting them were on that their side. Kauravas were supported by the entire Hastinapur army, Bhishmacharya, Dronacharya, Krupacharya, Ashwathama, Karna, and the 100 brothers of 100 sons of Dhritarashtra. All of them were champion warriors on the other side, and there were plenty of kings and huge army that they had assembled to fight this war against their other brothers. As they say, as the yuga progresses, the enemy comes within, comes closer. The 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 earlier the Satya Yuga, the battles were fought by with people from another universes, and as the Treta Yuga came, it became another country. And then as the Dwapar Yuga, and in the Dwapar Yuga, it came to the families. Dwapar Yuga, the Mahabharat happened. It was all in the family. So the enemies were not coming from another universe, or not also from another country, but enemies were present within one's own family. So the Mahabharat, Dwapar Yuga, where the Mahabharat took place, uh, depict or explain us how the battle took place between the same family members. And in the Kali Yuga, this has come even closer. Now we have to do battle with our own mind. Our own mind, our own intelligence, our own senses. We are battling every day with our own mind, and most of the times we are losing these battles. And again, next day morning, we are again, focused with our purpose, gather our intelligence, gather our purity, gather our piety, and try to fight with our mind and senses who are trying to drag us away from from the path of Krishna consciousness. So, so the so so after the battle was over, and Pandavas, as I said, went to Hastinapur and met with Dhritarashtra and Gandhari. Dhritarashtra, there is a famous incident that had took place at around this time. Dhritarashtra had बहुत गुस्सा था उनके अंदर, had huge anger inside him, and it was suppressed. He was blind by birth. He couldn't participate in war. He couldn't become king. He didn't never got recognition as a king, and so he was elder, but Pandu was more capable. So Pandu was given the kingdom. So there is a king, and then the younger brother of king is called Spare. In case this original king dies, this Spare can become main can become the king. And as a so Dhritarashtra originally was kept in Spare, and Pandu became king because he was more capable. He was not blind, so yeah, and he was able king. So his children, and so his children were born. Dhritarashtra had his children, but after Pandu's untimely death, Dhritarashtra becomes king. And but when Yudhishthir became capable, again Yudhishthir was the most righteous person, the most capable person of that time to become king, who should have become king. So Dhritarashtra refused to give up that kingdom and made Yudhishthir king, but instead he continued to occupy the throne, and and in fact cultivated that same attitude in Duryodhan, his sons, so that this rivalry grew. Eventually it landed up in a war, and where the entire Kaurava army was destroyed. Hardly only 6 7 people survived that war, and out of that, five were the Pandavas and Lord Krishna, and I think one brother from Kaurava side who survived, and he performed Anteshti for all the Kauravas. Now, so Dhritarashtra had this huge anger suppressed within him, and Bhima singularly had killed all his 100 sons. So Bhima had special place in his heart. So when he requested Bhima to come and embrace him, and he wanted to crush Bhima, and Lord Krishna knew this plan, so he pushed an effigy of Bhima instead of asking Bhima to step back, and he pushed that effigy into the arms of Dhritarashtra, and Dhritarashtra killed or crushed that metal effigy into powder. So much was his force, so much was his anger, and then he felt very ashamed of what he did because everyone saw what happened. He was still trying to kill Bhima. What his sons couldn't achieve, Dhritarashtra wanted to do it all by himself, even though he was blind. So that incident took place, and Dhritarashtra immediately felt very ashamed of his act. But uh, then they moved further and went to meet Gandhari. Gandhari, as you all know, she was not blind by birth, but she accepted blindness because her husband was blind. She says, I don't want to see the world which my husband cannot see. So she, by her own choice, um, covered her eyes by a cloth, and she never saw. After, from the moment she got married onwards, she never saw. So but she also had lost 100 sons, so she was extremely upset. She was extremely, as one can imagine, losing one son is not bad enough. If you lose all your 100 sons, how much depressed, how much dukhi that mother will be. So she requested Krishna to come forward, and she spoke with Krishna that Pandavas and Kauravas have been rooted out, O Krishna, even before your eyes. आपके आंखों के सामने ये संहार हुआ है. पूरी पांडवास आर्मी एंड पूरी कौरवास का डिस्ट्रक्शन हुआ है. And you saw all this. So those, we have a count of 65 now. For those who joined just now, we are discussing topic from Bhagavad Gita, Gahana Karmano Gati, 4.17 verse, where Krishna speaks about this. that when he explains what is good karma, what is bad karma, and what is akarma. And in the second sentence of the same verse, he says, Gahana Karmano Gati. Ki karma gati, that intricacies of karma are very difficult to understand. And that is the point that we are taking it forward. And we will do a deep dive on this particular statement with the help of few incidences from Mahabharata or Srimad Bhagavatam. Uh, and we are currently discussing in event when Mahabharat war gets over, all the great destruction take place. All the entire Kaurava army is wiped out. Only seven survivors, they say, are from Mahabharat. Seven or eight survivors. Five are Pandavas, one Lord Krishna. Then Krupacharya survived and Ashwatthama survived. And then there is one brother of Duryodhan survived from the Kaurava side who performed his last rites for all the Kauru army. So this is the background is very sad, and Bhima Dhritarashtra tries to kill Bhima by crushing him. So Lord Krishna pushed an effigy, metal effigy into his arm, and he crushed that metal effigy into powder. And then they came in front of Gandhari, who is now speaking. So my request to all of you is don't do multitasking. Keep aside everything. You will have a lot of learning to take in this session. So uh, please pay attention. Be ready to be focused and be ready to do contribute in the group discussion we will have soon. Now Gandhar is speaking with Lord Krishna that why were you indifferent to them? You could have prevented the slaughter. O Madhava, since you deliberately allowed this universal destruction, you should now feel the consequences. By whatever little merit I have acquired by serving my husband, I curse you, O holder of the discus, since you callously allowed the Kurus and Pandavas to kill one another, so you will be the destroyer of your own kinsman. O Govinda, on the 36th year from now, you will kill your own family members in a fratricidal a fight, finally dying yourself by foul means. The ladies of your family will thus weep, even as the Kuru ladies are now doing. What a curse! Gandhari is cursing Krishna. Gandhari is cursing the Lord himself. See how Lord behaves. Krishna, it's when she's blaming Krishna singularly for the entire war to have happened. Whereas Krishna played his part, did try his best to prevent the war from happening. He went to Hastinapur and there he requested Dhritarashtra and Duryodhan to give five villages to Pandavas. He said, give any five villages to Pandavas. He named few and then said, give these five villages to Pandavas, they will be happy. I will ensure that the war doesn't take place. And then came that famous dialogue from Duryodhan ki sui ke no itni jagah bhi mein land I will not give to Pandavas. So so that was the kind of response that came from the Kauravas. So every attempt made by Pandava's side, Lord Krishna, to prevent that war from taking place was disturbed, was destroyed by Duryodhana's ego and Duryodhana's and Dhritarashtra's ignorance. They both ensure that the war takes place. Now it was not big deal for them to give five villages, but that ego with which Duryodhan spoke this sentence कि सुई की नोक जितनी भी जगह में नहीं दूंगा पांडवों को जाओ जो चाहे वो कर लो and uh, that was it. Then when Lord went back, there was no other option left for them but to fight for their kingdom, their righteous kingdom. So Krishna had no fault, but practically for no fault of his, he's getting this kind of a horrible curse from Gandhari. And Gandhari was pious lady, was chaste lady. And Lord Krishna, see how he responds. For no fault of his, he's been cursed. And see how he's responding. Krishna bowed his head and folded his palms. Your words will be true, O chaste lady. There are none in this world who can exterminate the Vishnus, the Vrishnis and Yadavas. In delivering this curse, you have assisted me, for I have been wondering how to take my kinsman back out of this hole, back back out of this world. Neither gods, Gandharvas, nor Asuras can kill them. They will therefore slay each other. So Krishna is utilizing Gandhari's words to create a plan. Now this is all happening. Krishna is God. Krishna is Supreme Personality of Godhead, so nobody can curse him and no curse can work on him, but he wanted this curse to come because it helps him in fulfilling another plan. What is his plan? He says, my the whole Yadavas are nobody can kill them. They are all demigods themselves. They are all my anshas. So they are extremely powerful. Nobody can kill them. So how will that help? How can I take them back out of this world? So this is the best method. Let them get drunk, fight with each other, kill each other, and let everybody wind up this pastime along with me, and we will go back to our dham. So Krishna simply utilizes her curse in coming up with another plan to wind up his pastime. So, but he does it in a very humble mood. He doesn't get angry at Gandhari for getting a curse for no fault of his. Now, there are a lot of learnings for all of us in this. Now let's bring our focus back to Yudhishthir. What's happening with him? Yudhishthir, this around this time, Kunti Maharani reveals secret about Karna. About this time, they are all there in the Hastinapur palace. Uh, Dhritarashtra is there, Gandhari is there, Sanjay is there. These people never participated in war. All the ladies in the Kuru dynasty are crying. All of them have lost their husbands. So there is a huge cry going on in the palace. Everyone is dukhi, बहुत दुखी है, सब बहुत रो रहे हैं. They all have lost their husbands, they lost their uncles, they lost their children. Draupadi herself had lost five children. So Draupadi is there, Kunti Mata is there, and five Pandavas, Lord Krishna, Vyasadev, and Dhritarashtra, Gandhari are there. Now this is where Kunti Maharani reveals the secret about Karna, and Yudhishthir feels extremely sorry, extremely pain. He feels pain in his heart. What he has done. Karna was his own elder brother. So Pandavas were just not five brothers, they had an elder brother. And the same Karna, you know, they arranged to kill that Karna in such a, um, you know, uh, in a, I mean, their whole life they hated each other. Karna has always hated Pandavas, and Pandavas were also not in great terms with Karna. And Yudhishthir, had he knew that he had an elder brother, he would have never accepted the kingdom himself. So the same Karna, even though he was born as a Kshatriya, was considered to be a Sutaputra. Sutaputra is a community of chariot drivers, and they were not considered to be very great people. So, of course, not at the level of Kshatriya. So they were part of Shudra community, and and he had all the characteristics of a Kshatriya, of Tej of a Kshatriya, and all his actions were of a Kshatriya in nature. He was extremely great warrior personally, and but despite of all that, he never got recognition until Duryodhan gave him the kingdom of Angadesh, and then he became Angaraj Karna. But all their life, they've had such a bad relationship with Karna, and that puts Yudhishthir. All these events puts Yudhishthir in the ocean of sorrow. Now Yudhishthir is speaking before Krishna and his brothers that that his intentions to spend the rest of life in penance. Penance means give up kingdom. Give up kingdom. I want to go to the forest. I don't want this kingdom now. And I will not rule. I don't want to be a king. I don't want to rule this kingdom. I don't want any palace. I don't want to meet my wives. I don't want sons. I don't want you. I will just go alone to the forest and I will die. let me, that will also not give me my atonement. So he said, I cannot. He's extremely disturbed. He speaks these very disturbing words to Lord. We have waged war like dogs. We have waged war like dogs. कुत्ते जैसे हमने लड़ाई की है. फाइटिंग फॉर अ पीस ऑफ मीट. जैसे कुत्ते एक 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 छोटे मीट के टुकड़े के लिए झगड़ा कर देते हैं, एक दूसरे को काट देते हैं, मार देते हैं. हमने उस तरह से एक छोटे पीस ऑफ लैंड के लिए लड़ाई की है. एंड नाउ वी नो लॉन्गर डिजायर दैट मीट. नाउ I don't want that meat. That kingdom जो मुझे मिला है, ये इतनी लड़ाई के नरसंहार के बाद वो मुझे नहीं चाहिए. I will throw it aside. The endeavor was useless. We have not gained our object, and our enemies have not gained theirs. It's a lose-lose situation. हमने हमारा पूरा नुकसान हुआ है. Even their army was destroyed by, because there were formidable warriors on both sides. So it's not that only Pandavas were killing people. Even Kauravas, their warriors were also destroying Pandava army in a great way. So none from the Pandava side also survived the war. And so Yudhishthir is now considering himself responsible for this manslaughter. एंड उस किस चीज के लिए, एक छोटे से राज्य के टुकड़े के लिए, एक छोटा सा किंगडम. छोटा नहीं था, बाय द वे इट वाज लाइक एंटायर वर्ल्ड वाज देयर किंगडम, बट ही डिडंट कंसिडर इट टू बी इम्पोर्टेंट. सो उस छोटे से भूमि के टुकड़े के लिए हम कुत्तों जैसे मार पड़े एक दूसरे को, और ये नरसंहार हो गया. एंड ही सेइंग द इविल Kauravas indulged by the foolish king Dhritarashtra have met their destruction, and we are left with the burnt remnants. I will go to the forest, abandoning my attachment for this world. With my mind fixed on renunciation, I will attain to the goal ever sought by the by the ascetics and sages. Let Bhima become king, or you, Arjuna, with Krishna as your dear friend, may rule the earth. I do not wish to be king any longer. And when Yudhishthir is speaking like this, he is serious. It's not that he's speaking only for the sake of speaking. He is serious. He's seriously considering going to the forest, abandoning the kingdom. इतनी सब होने के बाद युधिष्ठिर does not want to become a king. इतना नरसंहार देखने के बाद he's saying, I have lost my attachment, abandoning my attachment to this world. मुझे कुछ नहीं चाहिए. And I will go to the forest. I will fast until my death. I will leave my body and I will go. I just want to give up my body. I consider myself responsible for this whole mess that we are all in. Let's pause for a moment, and let's hear from you, all of you. What advice will you give to Yudhishthir Maharaj? What advice will you give to Yudhishthir Maharaj? You've heard the background. We have a count of 82 now. So all those who joined late, you should not have joined late in the first place, but those who have come late, we're discussing a chapter, a subject called Gahana Karmano Gati. Intricacies of karma are very difficult to understand. And in this, we are trying to discuss an incident from Mahabharata or Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto, where after war, Dhritarashtra, uh, where Pandavas are going to meet Dhritarashtra and 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 Gandhari. Gandhari curses Krishna. Dhritarashtra tries killing Krishna, killing Bhima. Mother Kunti reveals secret about Karna, and Maharaj Yudhishthir is saying, I am responsible for all of this mess, for this onslaughter. And therefore he says, I do not want kingdom. I will go to the forest. Bhima, you become king, or Arjuna, if you want, you become king. I don't care. I don't care. And this is where we are. Sorry. Can you please raise hands, whosoever wants to speak? Again, one more request I made to all the participant is not to do multitasking. Please pay attention. We will have a lot of we need to speak a lot in this session. Yes, Sadhana Mataji followed by Kanchan Mataji. Please keep raising hand or please let me know. You can unmute and speak also. हिंदी में भी बात कर सकते
हरे
हैं, no
कृष्ण
problem.
प्रभु जी।
हरे कृष्णा माताजी.
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी, प्रणाम प्रभु जी। अ, मतलब अ, ये जो मतलब युधिष्ठिर युधिष्ठिर जी कर रहे हैं, तो वो उनका मतलब जो किया, मतलब उनको उनको उसको पाप में का मतलब पाप हो गया ऐसा सोच के कर रहे हैं, तो फिर प्रायश्चित कर रहे हैं, तो उसके लिए तो उनको ओके बोलना चाहिए। मतलब वो भी एक उनको उनका पापों का नष्ट हो जाएगा, वो भी ठीक है ना। मतलब उनको जाने दे सकते
So
हैं, लेकिन
yes, go ahead माताजी.
उनको जाने दे सकते हैं वैसे, लेकिन अभी इतना युद्ध करके फिर ये उनको जाने देना चाहिए ऐसा।
Okay. Okay, so he should be allowed to go and whatever he wants to do, let him do, and then we should think of alternatives. Kanchana Mataji, and then Roshan Singh Sardar and Sulega Savikar Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. What I feel is that if he would have gone uh, without any thought in his mind के जब पहले के जमाने के जो राजा महाराजा थे वो वैसे भी संन्यास लेके जाते थे after surrendering their kingdom to their younger ones. तो वैसे अगर जा रहे हैं तो ठीक है, बट अगर मन में ये लेके जा रहे हैं कि मैंने इतने सारे डेथ्स की, क्योंकि कृष्णा ने पहले ही अर्जुना को एक्सप्लेन किया था कि इस युद्ध में जो भी होगा उसका कर्म किसी को भी नहीं लगने वाला है, सब पहले ही मरे हुए हैं, मैंने सबको पहले ही मार के रखा हुआ है। एंड नाउ यू जस्ट हैव टू परफॉर्म द ड्यूटी, यू जस्ट हैव टू बी अ मीडिएटर और अ मीडियम थ्रू विच इट विल बी displayed to the general public. So वो अगर फीलिंग रख रहे हैं तो that means he is not surrendering his karma to the Krishna, and then he'll be again in the cycle of life and death. अगर ये नहीं सोचे तो वैसे जा सकते हैं संन्यास के लिए, अगर ये सोच के जा रहे हैं तो देन इट इज नॉट गुड। एंड एज अ क्षत्रिय इट इज हिज रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी कि जो भी राजा जीत के आते हैं दो युद्ध में किसी न किसी की हानि होती है, किसी न किसी का फायदा होता है, तो एज अ राजा एज अ क्षत्रिय इट इज हिज ड्यूटी टू कंटिन्यू हिज किंगडम।
Okay, Roshan Singh and Sulega Mataji.
हरे कृष्णा प्रभु जी, हरि बोल, दंडवत प्रणाम प्रभु जी।
Hare Krishna.
प्रभु जी, आई वुड जस्ट से दैट धर्म why धर्मराज युधिष्ठिर why धर्मराज युधिष्ठिर calls a धर्मराज and is the meaning of what is the meaning of धर्मराज?
ये क्वेश्चन है आपका. ओके,
जी
क्वेश्चन
जी।
धर्मराज उनको इसलिए बोला जाता है कि बिकॉज ही इज ऑलवेज ही इज ट्राइंग टू डू द राइट थिंग मोस्ट ऑफ द टाइम्स. So he's always he's a knower of all what is right, what is wrong, and he's doing right every time. So that's what it is called. He's referred to in this Mahabharata. It's called Dharmaraj Yudhishthir. Okay, but आपको क्या लगता है? Should he renounce and go to forest, or should he is supposed to rule the kingdom? What's your thing? What do you think?
Uh, it's supposed to rule to be the kingdom because
Okay,
13 वर्षों मतलब जिन अज्ञातवास मिला फिर वनवास मिला, एक हिसाब से उनको ये अप एंड डाउन होते रह रहा था। तो किंगडम में राज करते हैं और अच्छे से रूल करते तो अच्छा रहता, फिर उसके बाद वो संन्यास जाते तो इट्स बेटर, क्योंकि दुर्योधन ने तो उनसे क्रीड़ा में छीना था ना उनका राज्यपाट इंद्रप्रस्थ।
hmm.
इस वजह से ऐसा
Okay,
बात नहीं है कि मैं सन्यास नहीं, बट हम समझते कि वो राज करते तो ठीक रहता और अच्छा राजपाट चलाते।
ओके, ठीक है. रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी के बारे में क्या लगता है कि ही इज कंसिडर हिमसेल्फ रिस्पॉन्सिबल फॉर द फॉर इस सब की मिजरी के लिए ही इज कंसिडर हिमसेल्फ रिस्पॉन्सिबल. सुलेखा माता जी एंड देन कार्तिक प्रभु एंड वी विल मूव फॉरवर्ड. वी हैव अनदर क्वेश्चन टू कम डिस्कस.
हरे
सुलेखा
कृष्णा
माता जी,
प्रभु
हरे
जी।
कृष्ण.
हाँ, हरे कृष्णा प्रभु जी। एक्चुअली रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी के बारे में तो नहीं, युधिष्ठिर should not take himself as a responsible for every all distraction, बिकॉज जब गीता का पहला पार्ट में जैसी अर्जुन की स्थिति हो गई है वैसे ही मुझे लगता है अभी युधिष्ठिर महाराज की हो गई है। ही इज टोटली बॉडीली अटैच एंड वो सब खुद आत्मा नहीं तो बॉडी के तरफ से सब रिलेशन से अटैच होके वो ये रो रहे हैं कि मैंने कुछ किया है और ये सब डिस्ट्रैक्शन मेरे मेरे से ही हुआ है करके। तो और
Okay.
ये नॉर्मल युद्ध नहीं था, ये धर्म युद्ध था। और धर्म युद्ध में भी वो धर्म के बाजू से लड़ रहे थे। यानी जो एडवाइस कृष्णा ने अर्जुन को गीता में दिया है वही एडवाइस युधिष्ठिर महाराज को भी लगेगा और उस हिसाब से ही शुड रूल
He
द
should rule.
किंगडम।
Okay. Karthik Prabhu, last, and then we
हरे
move towards
कृष्णा,
the super
हरे
question.
कृष्णा प्रभु जी, हरे कृष्णा टू एवरीबॉडी। सही है, माता जी भी सही कह रही थी। और मैं भी वही दोहराना चाहता हूँ कि जैसे हम अब कृष्ण भगवान उन्होंने खास बताया था कि आप यहाँ आपके कर्म करने आए हैं। और मेरे ख्याल से आखिरी जो इसका पड़ाव ये रहा कि ये सब अपना यानी हिमालय की तरफ आगे बढ़े। तो यानी देखा जाए तो जो उनका कर्म था उनने कर लिया और वो निकल गए। एज फार एज रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी इज कंसर्न, हाँ ये बात तो सही है कि रिस्पॉन्सिबल, बट कहीं पर ऐसा भी लगता है, यानी हम हमारे नजरिए से अगर देखें तो ऐसा लगता है कि उन्होंने एक किसी सही रिस्पॉन्सिबल व्यक्ति को वहां अपॉइंट करके वो आगे बढ़े, जो उनको उनको पता होगा कि आगे सभी चीजों को वो अच्छे से हैंडल कर सकें। वैसे व्यक्ति को उन्होंने वहां बिठाया होगा।
Okay. So, two things, two kind of views कि ठीक है करना चाहिए, अगर जाने की इच्छा है तो जाना चाहिए. So that way, even Arjun wanted to quit and go to forest, but Krishna said, "This is right, not the right time. This is you're in your prime youth. So currently, dharma samsthapanarthaya sambhavami yuge yuge. Somebody has to do samsthapana of a dharma. कि धार्मिक राज्य कैसे चलता है इसकी किसी को तो स्थापना करनी पड़ेगी. When Krishna says this, it implies that when Dhritarashtra's kingdom was there, it was not ruled according to the dharma. So it is a service. Dharma samsthapanarthaya is not that Krishna is going to do this. Krishna can do it, but this service is given to his devotees, and devotees love to serve Krishna, and Krishna wants his devotees to become instrument in everything that he wants to get it done. So with that in mind, if you can think of this incidents, then you'll realize that uh, that for the establishing dharma, we have to have a ruler. And there was no other better ruler than Yudhishthir at around that time. So it was imperative for Yudhishthir Maharaj to continue to rule the kingdom and establish the order of dharma. And then towards the end of his life, of course, he should not be attached to the kingdom, but he should he ruled the kingdom as a service to Krishna. जैसे Arjuna fought war as a service to Krishna, similarly, Yudhishthir Maharaj should rule kingdom as a service to Krishna, because Krishna wants to establish the order of dharma. It was run in an adharmic way, and Krishna wants to reverse it. And Yudhishthir should happily become an instrument. ही शुड नॉट थिंक कि मेरे एंजॉयमेंट के लिए हो रहा है, मुझे अभी एंजॉय नहीं करना है तो मैं वन में चला जाता हूँ. दैट्स अ रॉन्ग वे ऑफ लुकिंग एट थिंग्स. So that is the and as far as responsibility concerned, we will later in later stage of this presentation we will see uh, how Krishna doesn't advise him. Krishna asks him to go and see Bhishma, and Bhishma advises him, and we will see what Bhishma Dev says at around that time. Now ये जो सबको रिजल्ट्स मिल रहे थे, now we are going to talk about something very interesting topic, interesting concept is a present karma and past karma. Now, how much of the suffering? Now, everyone was suffering. Yudhishthir Maharaj was suffering. Dhritarashtra was suffering. Gandhari was suffering. Kunti was dukhi. Kunti Maharani was suffering because she lost her elder son. Draupadi was suffering. She lost all her 5 sons who were killed by Ashwathama while they were sleeping. So, in this scenario, everyone seems to be suffering. Everyone is very, very sad. Now, in this situation, one question is present karma versus past karma. We have to now think about how much of these sufferings have come because of present karma, and how much of these sufferings have come because of the past karma. I will park this thought, will not right now discuss this amongst the group, because I still need to introduce you these two concepts. And but we may come back and we may see more examples where we will try to understand this concept a little bit more in detail. Sorry, I didn't take a look at um, chat. I think there were some answers posted in chat as well. I'll be happy if you can speak, unmute and speak, but yeah, we can take a look at these later. So let's go to the concept of Gahana Karmanogati. You see here, karma, one has to carry the burden of one's karma. That's the image that you see first. Then another second image shows that how karma, basically what goes comes back, as the कर्मा के लिए एक सेंटेंस लिखा है कि एज यू सो शैल यू रीप, जैसे आप कर्म करते हो वैसे आपको फल मिलता है. And so this two arrow indicate that aspect. Karma never loses an address. Karma never loses an address indicates that your karma will come to you, may come to you in this lifetime or some other lifetime, but it will never lose your address. Whichever body you might be in, आप कुत्ते के बॉडी में भी गए तो भी वहां आके वो मिल जाएगा आपको. अच्छा कर्मा मिलना है तो एक अच्छी फीस मिल जाएगी कुत्ते को भी, एंड बुरा कर्मा मिलना है तो यू मे गेट क्रश्ड अंडर अ व्हीकल. सो karma never loses an address. Now, the word karma per se is used in multiple ways. It's not one word has one meaning. Static नहीं है, ये थोड़ा डायनामिक होता है. One meaning of karma is action, कि आप कुछ भी काम करोगे तो that's also karma. अनदर मीनिंग इन दिस 4.17 में जिस तरह से यूज हुआ है कर्म, अकर्म, कर्म विकर्म एंड अकर्म, उसमें धार्मिक कर्म के लिए यूज किया है. कर्मा ऑल्सो मीन्स धार्मिक कर्म, गुड एक्टिविटीज, पायस कर्म, अच्छा काम करना. सो नॉट ओनली जस्ट डूइंग एनी वर्क इज ऑल्सो कॉल्ड कर्मा, डूइंग पायस वर्क इज ऑल्सो कॉल्ड कर्मा. Karma is sometimes also referred to is as a reaction of karma. In most of our discussion today, we will be referring past karma as a reaction of karma. We may call it past karma, but what is you? If you are suffering your past karma, it means you are suffering reactions of your past karma. And karma is also referred to as the whole system of karma and the fruit of karma. द कर्मा एंड कर्मफला, ये जो पूरी सिस्टम है उस सिस्टम को भी रिफर किया जाता है बाय सिंपल बाय कॉलिंग इट इन वन वर्ड कर्मा. सो कर्मा वी हैव टू अंडरस्टैंड इन विच कॉन्टेक्स्ट हम यूज कर रहे हैं ये वर्ड को. Okay, so if we, as I said, predominantly we will be using karma. Present karma means good activity, pious good activities in the current frame of time, and past karma means reactions of past activities. इस तरह से हम उनको यूज करेंगे. सो लेट्स टेक अ स्टेप बैक. नो, हमने तो महाभारत डिस्कस किया, बट ये हमारे लाइफ में भी तो अप्लीकेबल है. इन अवर लाइफ ऑल्सो वी फेस लॉट ऑफ प्रॉब्लम्स. वी व्हेन वी फेस प्रॉब्लम्स इन लाइफ, वी वांट टू अंडरस्टैंड ये क्यों आ रहा है, फ्रॉम वेयर दिस प्रॉब्लम्स आर कमिंग, व्हाई एम आई सफरिंग. At times we become confused. If we are given, if when we have problems, at times we can't put a finger on a reason why am I getting this problem, and that really leads us to a very confused state. We become very confused कि ये, because अगर हमको पता ही नहीं क्यों हाँ हो रहा है हमारे साथ जो हो रहा है, तो what can we do about it? How can we tackle the situation? So another way of putting it is, we may all consider ourselves as good people. So if we are good, if we consider ourselves as good people, then uh, एक जनरल टेंडेंसी होती है to think that all good things should happen to good people and bad things should happen to bad people. बट हम देखते हैं दुनिया में ऐसा नहीं होता है. सो व्हेन बैड थिंग हैपन टू गुड पीपल, वी बिकम कंफ्यूज कि क्यों हो रहा है, तो कैसे एक्ट करे, तो करे कि नहीं करे, अच्छा काम करे कि बैड ही होना है तो मैं अच्छा क्यों करूं? So that can be a question. So how do we understand this? How do we explain this? So two possible explanations can be there. uh, One is everything happens by chance. If bad things are happening to good people, um, it's everything anyway is random. Everything happens only by chance. किसी को अच्छा होगा, किसी को बुरा होगा, किसी को बहुत बुरा भी होगा. तो आपको जो करना है वो करो. Second explanation can be it's God's will. You know, many Abrahamic religions like Islam and Christianity has this big concept that God's will. आपको अगर अंधे पैदा हुए हो, within God's will, God's is taking a test. You know, you are being put to a test, and God wants you to pass. Allah wants you to pass, and that way, you know, they categorize, they label everything with God's will. It's भगवान चाहते हैं कि ये परीक्षा एग्जाम दे, and therefore sufferings, even though you are good, but you should appear for the exams. When you give exams, obviously things are not very simple. So these two possible explanations, but there are problems with these explanations. So on one hand, one way to say that everything happens by chance. So अच्छा हो रहा है तो हो रहा है, अच्छा है. नहीं हो रहा है तो नहीं हो रहा है, अच्छा है. बिकॉज इट्स लाइक अ लॉटरी, लाइफ इज लाइक अ लॉटरी. जो हो रहा है वो ऐसे लॉटरी से हो रहा है, मिलेगा तो मिलेगा, नहीं मिलेगा तो नहीं मिलेगा. That can be one explanation, but another explanation can be God wants you to suffer, God wants you to enjoy. That can be everything is happening by God's will. Now the problem with these two explanations is, first explanation for example is everything happening by chance. We don't work like this, we don't function like this in our life. हम ये नहीं बता, even the most non-believers of God also, even those who believe, those who say that we don't believe in God, there is no God, there's nothing like God, everything is false, no religion, nothing, don't follow any rules. हम ऐसे लोग भी अपने बच्चे को ये नहीं बोलते कि भैया ब्रश, बेटा ब्रश करो, मैं मत करो, कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता. तो वह तुम्हारे अगर दांत सड़ने हैं तो वो सड़ेंगे, नहीं सड़ने हैं तो नहीं सड़ेंगे. तो करना है तो करो, मत करो नहीं तो मत करो, दैट्स ओके. नहाना है तो नहाओ, नहीं तो नहीं मत नहाओ. पढ़ाई करनी है तो करो, नहीं तो मत करो. अगर अमीर होना है तो तुम कैसे भी हो जाओगे. हाउ मेनी ऑफ यू सी their children being taught in that way? Even the most atheist person will also want their children to brush teeth every day, to take bath every day, to maintain hygiene every day, to study every day, so that they become better, healthy individual. They, you know, they become intellectual people. They can contribute to the society. Why do they do that? Because they see there is a cause and effect relationship. अब अगर दांत, वो believe there is a rule in which they believe that if you don't brush your teeth, you will have, your teeth will be spoiled. Now this is the cause, this is the effect. If you don't study, you know, you will suffer because you will not get job, you will not be able to earn money, you will not be able to enjoy the world. So even if you forget God out, take God out of equation, even those who want to function in the world, even they believe that world does not, what, nothing happens in the world by chance. So world is driven by rules. Rule is tell us that cause, there is a cause for, there is a, if for any effect there has to be a cause. अगर आज तुम्हारे दांत सड़ गए हैं, उसका कुछ कॉज होगा. ऐसा नहीं कि बाय चांस सड़ गए हैं. No, nobody function in the world with this kind of mentality. So the immediately you will seek an answer, okay, were you brushing your teeth? So everyone believes in this cause and effect relationship. Everyone believes that the world functions with some rules. So let's move forward. So this is, if I believe that everything is happening by God's will, this kind of a theory has another problem, which makes God unfair. Because if जैसे कि हम एग्जाम में जाएंगे तो we expect, if we are giving CA exam, I am CA, so all my examples are like that. But if I am giving 12th exam, for example, 12th standard के एग्जाम में, एक सी एग्जाम में, फॉर एग्जांपल देयर इज ओनली वन सी इंस्टीट्यूट, which in India who conducts exam. If you think in the CA exam, if I am given the most difficult paper and a student sitting next to me is given most easy paper for the same exam, um, I will not be very happy as a student. I want fairness from the institute. I want my CA institute to fair with everyone. अगर difficult paper देना है तो सबको दो. अगर simple paper देना है तो सबको दो. I don't want a situation where my person sitting next to me is solving MCQ. सब सारे सिंपल सिंपल आंसर्स है और मुझे सारे प्रॉब्लम्स दे दिए हैं फॉर द सेम पेपर, सेम एग्जाम, सेम ईयर, सेम टाइम. We don't want unfair things to happen to us. We won't want anybody to be unfair. We may not love our boss, but we don't want our boss to be unfair. कोई unfair होता है तो that hurts us the most. So if we consider God to be unfair, because if he's giving me problem but my neighbor is not having this problem, my friend are not having this problem, my relatives are not having this problem, why am I being targeted by God? And because God want to test me, ये कौन सा टेस्ट है? देना है सबको दो, नहीं देना है किसी को मत दो. And so when that explanation comes, God doesn't remain lovable, because before we love someone, we want to ensure that person is fair, and God is all fair. God is equal to everyone. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita 9th chapter that Samoham Sarva Bhuteshu, I am equal to all the living entities. Name Dveshti, so Name Priyaha. Neither I envy anybody और न मेरा कोई प्रिय है, बट जो मेरा भक्त बनता है उनको मैं फेवर करता हूँ. ये तो बहुत बहुत सिंपल ओपनली बोल रहे हैं, बट so we don't want God. So the explanation that God's will does not really go well. It does not answer a lot of questions. So there is a third explanation. So between these two extremes, one is that everything happened by chance. हो गया तो हो गया, दुखी है तो दुख आया है तो दुख आया है, भोगो. जो मजे कर रहे हैं उनको करने दो, बिकॉज इट्स ऑल लॉटरी. किसी का हो गया तो हो गया, नहीं हुआ तो नहीं हुआ है. This is doesn't make sense. Neither God's will makes sense. So between these two is law of karma. The third explanation is law of karma, the most logical one. It tells why because it tells us, teaches that whatever happens in our life is a reaction of our own good or bad karma in past, in the right this lifetime or in the past lifetime. So अगर हम अगर हम प्यून की नौकरी कर रहे हैं, चपरासी की नौकरी कहीं कर रहे हैं, तो हमको सीईओ की सैलरी नहीं मिलेगी, हमको चपरासी की ही सैलरी मिलेगी. और कोई चपरासी की सीईओ की जॉब कर रहा है तो उसको सीईओ की सैलरी मिलेगी. सो वी ऑल गेट व्हाट वी डिजर्व. हम everyone is free to become CEO, everyone is free to become chaprasi, and we choose what we become, and then accordingly we get what we deserve. So हमको गलत चीजें नहीं मिलती. Sometimes there can be timing difference, but we get our own karma. In this case, I'm using the word karma as a reaction of karma. So karma never loses an address. It will always find you. जहां कहीं भी हो वहां आके वो आपको दे देंगे reactions. Now this is the most logical explanation to understand why bad thing happened to good people. Let's let's do a little bit deep dive, little bit more deep dive on this. Now this could be present and past karma. Now not everything happens instantly. जैसे कि हमने हमने कैंडल, बर्निंग कैंडल में उंगली डाल दी तो इंस्टेंटली हाथ जल जाता है. So there is a action and there is a instant reaction. So this is, and I can say that suffering is coming because of my present karma. But there are activities when the suffering is coming to us, but we can't think of any activity that we would have done wrong to get that kind of a suffering. We will see this by way of some examples. Philosophically, law of karma, we all can, कर्मण्येवाधिकारस्ते मा फलेषु कदाचनम मा कर्मफल हेतुर्भु माते संगोस्व कर्मणि. We were doing book distribution on Juhu Beach. and we met somebody, we were offering Bhagavad Gita. It was month of December. He said, no, I know Bhagavad Gita. And then he said this verse. And then I said, please explain me this verse. He couldn't explain. He had no clue what this verse means. कर्म करो फल की चिंता मत करो, whatever he spoke, but he had no idea what this verse meant. So philosophically, everyone thinks that they understand law of karma and they keep telling each other law of karma, ऐसा करो वैसा करो, ये है वो है. भगवत गीता मीन्स लॉ ऑफ कर्मा, कर्मण्येवाधिकार से. नाउ ये बकवास करने के लिए आसान है. टॉकिंग इज इजी, टेलिंग प्रीचिंग इज इजी, लॉ ऑफ कर्मा ये है वो है. But when a practical situation comes in our life, we get bewildered, we get confused. It becomes very confusing to handle problematic situations. तब हम भूल जाते हैं लॉ ऑफ कर्मा क्या था. तब हम भूल जाते हैं कि ये क्यों है, ये एक्शन रिएक्शन क्या होता है. देयर वी फील बीइंग विक्टिमाइज्ड. ये हमारे साथ क्यों हो रहा है. आई शुड नॉट हैव बीन द विक्टिम, आई शुड हैव बीन द, it should have gone somewhere else. So practical application is not very easy. व्हाट वी से दैट ये बकवास करना अच्छा है, बट इजी है, आसान है, बट प्रैक्टिकल व्हेन वी लैंड अप इन अ सिचुएशनल मेस, व्हेन हम जब मेस में चले जाते हैं, दैट टाइम इट्स नॉट वेरी इजी टू रिमेंबर लॉ ऑफ कर्मा. So practical application is very difficult. So in real life things become very complex. What we get is always the result of both our present karma and past karma. And there is a rapid, it's all happening very very quickly. We may be talking about one incidence, but in our life reality, the things are very dynamic. And we can't really put a finger कि ये present के हुआ because of my this happened because of my present karma, this happened because of my past karma, and so on and so forth. So हम उसको label नहीं कर सकते इतने आसानी से, because बहुत तेजी से चीजें होती है हमारे लाइफ में. It's not easy to pinpoint everything and say that this is present, this is past, this is present, this is past. Take for example of case of heart attack. Many people in India die by heart attack. All of you can think of people that you whom you knew. My my mother passed away by heart attack. My father passed away by cancer. These are very common causes, which causes death amongst people everywhere in the world. It's not so much in India, not what to speak of in India, but everywhere in the world. I mean, these are the two main reasons why people die. Now, if you see someone has been smoking lifelong, and towards the end of their life, after 60, 65, if they get diagnosed by lung cancer, um, you understand that, okay, you smoked and chewed tobacco all your life, and at the age of 60, 62, 63, you were diagnosed by lung cancer, and in next 2, 3 years, you left this body. So there is a clear cause and effect relationship you can see. But there could be someone who can get diagnosed by as cancer, and suffer enormously because of that, and you knew for sure that that person never smoked or never chewed tobacco, and in fact had led a very healthy lifestyle all throughout his life or her life, and they get diagnosed by cancer, they suffer terribly, and ultimately they leave their body also. Now between these two, the first is understandable. There is a clear cause and effect relationship. Because you did this, this happened. In the second scenario, that relationship is missing. I can just see the suffering which is caused by cancer, but I can't see that. I can't see a cause for it, a reason for it. You never smoked, you never. So the world is not very simple. Now the suffering is coming. Cancer is becoming a nimitta for suffering, but I can't put a finger कि ये क्यों हो रहा है, which is what makes uh, us or our application or a practical application of theory of karma very difficult, because when you land yourself in that situation, मति मति बंद हो जाती है, बुद्धि चलना बंद हो जाती है, and just we just feel that we've been victimized, we just feel sad, we just feel sorry and extremely disturbed we get. So it's not that easy to determine what we get because of present karma, what we get because of past karma, and what should we do about it. Another example, two people are playing mridanga. Kirtan started in temple, and two people picked up mridanga and they started playing. Now one person has practiced playing mridanga for more than 500 hours. He's been regular in kirtan. So when he will play mridanga, everyone will praise. Everyone will say, "Wow, wow, 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 और बजाओ, और बजाओ." Whereas the second person, वो बहुत शौक था, उसको बहुत इंथुजियाज्म था, तो उन्होंने भी मृदंगा उठा लिया। और बट दैट इज द फर्स्ट टाइम ही लिफ्टेड मृदंगा। उनको तो पता ही नहीं कैसे मृदंगा बजाते हैं, वो ऐसे ही सुन सुन के देख देख के कुछ बजा रहे थे, तो ऑब्वियसली वो बेताल था, वो ताल में नहीं बजा पा रहे थे। सो फॉर द सेम एक्शन, सेम प्रेजेंट एक्शन, ये दूसरे बंदे को लोग बोलेंगे बंद करो, नो मोर, नो मोर। Why? Why? For the same action, two people performing same action, different reactions are coming. Different fruits are coming. Why? First person is getting a praise, second person is being criticized. Now, how do we understand that? Because first person has performed his practice in past, he is able to play mridanga well. And the second person, because he never practiced playing mridanga, now he's trying to play mridanga, but nobody likes it because he's not able to play properly. So for the same present action, two people are getting opposite reactions. Understand this? For the same present action, is producing opposite results for two different people. Due to the now this is happening because of the influence of past karma. So this is how past karma influence our results. And at times we know it, at times we don't know it. Another example, how past karma sometimes is relevant, but sometimes in some situations it is not relevant. For example, for no reason in the office you go to somebody and you slap that person for no practical reason, and that person slap you back. For no reason you go and slap someone and that person slaps you back, and you feel suffering. There's a it could be more powerful, and there's a pain here, there's a pain here, or insult हुआ, ये हुआ, बहुत दुख हो रहा है आपको. Now, is this suffering because of present karma or past karma? It's suffering clearly because of the present karma, because you had no reason to go and slap that person. That person slapped you back is just a reaction. So if you had, if not scenario, if you had not slapped, you would not have got a slap back. So this is a clear case where there is a reaction, suffering, which is coming to me, but I can see why it is coming. I can see my present action, which present action of me is responsible for that suffering. So with this, let's but in real life things are not that simple. जब हमें सफरिंग आती है, जब हमें डिफिकल्टी आती है, दिक्कतें आती है, प्रॉब्लम्स आते हैं, at times we cannot understand कि why they are coming, and that's what makes life difficult. We'll try to analyze this by way of a chart. Chart में यहाँ पे if you can see, on the right hand side we have positive present actions, and on the opposite side we have negative present action. So this is present action, positive, negative and positive. This is positive, अच्छे काम, आज के दिन में अच्छे काम, तो slap नहीं करना है, that is good positive action. And negative positive action, that negative present action is go and slap someone. On the other axis we have past actions. Now past actions also can be positive and negative. Past actions here means by reactions of our past actions. हम past actions तो कर दिए, अब उसका fruit आएगा, फल आएगा, तो वो फल अच्छा हो सकता है या बुरा हो सकता है. Now how does it matter? And going back to the Mahabharat, let's try to take example of few people. That we make 4 zones. Please pay attention, everyone. 83 of you, please pay attention. 2 logins are mine, but 81 of you, please pay attention here. There are 4 zones, and we want to categorize few people into different zones. Okay, positive present action and positive past action is one zone. So this is, we want to label somebody over here. I will give you names, you tell me where they will fit. But just understand, what are these zones? Positive present action and positive past action is one zone. Positive past action but negative present action is another zone. Somebody can come here. Negative present action and negative पास्ट एक्शंस ऑल्सो, जिसका कर्म पिछले कर्म भी बुरे थे और आज भी वो बुरा ही कर्म कर रहा है. दिस कैन बी अनदर जोन. समबडी कैन कम हियर. एंड पॉजिटिव प्रेजेंट एक्शंस बट हैड नेगेटिव past actions, उसका karmic reactions are negative, so somebody can come here. So I'll give names and you can mention, you can let me know uh, where who will fit. You understood? You can just type yes if you have understood what those four zones are, and I will give name, four names I will give, and you need to tell me. iPhone, please mention your name. We want to know who you are, and we want you to speak also wherever possible. So but for now, let's use chat. I'm opening chat in my phone so that I can take a look at who is answering. So first name is Duryodhan. Which box, which zone you will put him into? Let's categorize this as this is one, two, three, four. So positive present, positive past, positive present, positive past is 1, 2, 3, and 4. So Duryodhan, where will he fit? If somebody can unmute and speak. I'll again repeat 1, 2, 3, and 4.
Positive, negative, present.
Negative
So
present and negative
2.
past.
Negative, negative. Okay.
Negative, negative.
Okay.
Uh,
Duryodhan is all negative.
Negative present but positive past.
Negative present and positive past. Okay, that's a nice answer.
Negative, negative.
Can come here. Sorry, we'll just go back. So Duryodhan will come here. Vidura will go to into the analyzing the Vidura, where will Vidura come?
Negative, present, and sorry, negative past and positive present.
Negative past and positive present. Vidura can come here. Pandavas, where will they come?
Both positive, positive. Like
Positive, positive. And Dhritarashtra, where will he come?
Negative, negative.
Negative, negative. Okay. So let's see, and we'll go into the reasons for this. So Vidura is the negative past and positive present. Pandavas generally can be classified as a positive past and positive present. Pandavas were in this zone also at the time of and when the war ended and they were getting established as kings of the earth. They were in this zone, but they moved in this zone as well. Duryodhan, Duryodhan had bad present, but
Sanjeev ji, if you can mute yourself,
I'll
we'll be
mute.
able to understand better.
Yeah, I'm muting them. So Duryodhan had bad present karmas, but um he had good past karma, because of which he got birth in a royal family, and he was always he was a formidable warrior by himself. So he had some good qualities, and they come from his past good activities, but all his present karmas were completely negative. Dhritarashtra was born blind. So he was, by birth he was blind. So he had negative past karma, and all he did was also bad. Present karmas were also were bad. So he gets into the negative zone. So let's talk about Pandavas. Pandavas were born in royal family, were champion warriors of their times. All their actions were according to the dharma. That's why we know that he's referred to as Dharmaraj. They always followed the instructions of Krishna, who was present in New Krishna and Brahmanas. They were protected by Brahmanas and Krishna. So Pandavas were in the positive zone. Positive past but negative present is Duryodhan. As we discussed, though he was born in royal families, he did all his actions were to eliminate Pandavas from this earth so that he can have an unrivaled kingdom. So all his activities in the present activities were adharmic or negative. Had a positive past but present good present karma. Bad past karma but good present karma. Example is Vidura. Now Vidura was a Dasi Putra. Karna was a Suta Putra and Vidura was a Dasi Putra. Now Dasi Putra is obviously born to a royalty but not really born to a royalty because mothers were Dasi. And because of that he was not given a, even though he was very intelligent and he acted like a chief advisor to Dhritarashtra. He only had, his capacity was not to execute. He can give sane advice, but Dhritarashtra was free to do whatever he wanted to do, and that's what happened throughout Mahabharata. Vidura was always giving sane advice to both Dhritarashtra and Duryodhana, but he had no power to enforce right action on them. So they were free to do because they were kings and he was an advisor. As an advisor you can only do this much, you can only go to an extent of giving advice, but after that it's up to the person who is receiving advice whether to follow it or not follow it. And both Dhritarashtra and Duryodhan didn't care for his advice, and therefore they did whatever they wanted to do. And so and then the Vidura had to suffer because you see things, wrong things happening in front of you. So it's a very miserable position where you know everything is wrong happening, and you just can't do anything about it. So Vidura was put into that condition, and negative past and negative present is Dhritarashtra, born with misfortune and continued to act miserably. And he failed in his duty as a king as well as a father. As a king, it was his duty to protect his own army, protect his kingdom. He failed in that for a simple, for a very, very small reason. He could have easily, as a king, he would have said that I will give these 5 villages to Pandavas if it is helping me avoid the war. But he didn't took that decision because you know deep inside in his heart he also wanted those sons of Pandu to be dead. अगर ये वॉर से वो मर रहे तो मरने दो उनको. So that was his attitude. So even he didn't so none of his present actions were positive. He continued to remain silent when they tried disrobing Draupadi. He could have spoken to Duryodhan as a father, as a elder person in the family. It was his duty. So he failed in his duty as a king as well as a father, and which has led to this big mess of Mahabharata war being happening. Now let's look at these two zones. There's a positive and positive. The Pandavas were in this zone and Vidura was in this zone. So I'm earmarking this as a zone, the combining the two. And similarly, on the negative side also there is a zone. There is a negative and negative where Dhritarashtra was there, and positive negative is where Duryodhan was there. Had some positive attitude from past karmic reactions, but all present actions were pathetic, negative. So let's see how should we function at our level. We all can agree that this is the best case scenario कि all हमें जो मतलब हमारे लाइफ में बेसिकली कोई सफरिंग है ही नहीं. If we are in this scenario, then practically there is no suffering in our life because आज जो हमें because my past karma was good, but all my past karma, good past karma is now getting fructified. I am getting a lot of enjoyments, and all my present actions are also good. So that is also causing me no pain. So this is a win-win or the best case scenario. So Pandavas, when they were after the finished the war, they were in this scenario where all they were rulers of this earth. Yudhishthir was was ideal king. Pandava other brothers were ideal brothers. They were protecting the kingdom, and everything was best for them. मतलब कोई चिंता का कारण ही नहीं. Some of us may go through a patch of life when everything seems to be happening according to our wish. जो चाहते हैं वो होता है. ऐसा लगता है कि हम ही भगवान हैं. ऐसा लगने लगता है कि कोई भगवान की जरूरत ही नहीं है, मैं ही भगवान बन चुका हूँ. And we have those, some people call it zone, some people call it a phase where, you know, everything whatever we wish actually happens. And we also wonder ये ऐसा क्यों हो रहा है, but sometimes we could find ourselves in a zone where, you know, it's all our good past karmas are fructifying and all our present actions are also good. So it's a great situation. No, it's a best case scenario. And a lot of time we find ourselves in such situations. We might go through a phase of life where we had that kind of a situation. Now that is ideal, but that's not always going to be the case in with us. Now we can have, we may, we may be doing good today. We may be acting well according to the rules and regulations of the of law of land as well as law of dharma as per the instructions of Bhagavad Gita. So all our present actions are all proper. However, we may still get some sufferings, and that suffering can come as a reaction of some of our past karma from this lifetime or past karma from previous lifetime. When we, if we are not here, at least we should try to be here. Can somebody tell me the difference between the two? Yeah, can unmute and speak.
We
Yes, Swami.
we
Yes,
might
Hare Krishna.
have not done good previously, but at least we should try to do what is right, what is correct, as soon as we understand the difference, and we should do continue to do our good deeds henceforth.
Okay,
Hare
Minati.
Krishna, Prabhuji. May
Yes.
I answer?
Yeah, please.
Prabhuji, we don't have any control in our negative reactions that we have done in the past. We absolutely have no control. I can't undo anything that I have done in past. So I should be concentrating in the present action. So that's what I feel. This is what you said.
What implies when we move from this zone to this zone, what implies what's happening with us here?
Uh, the, we have to do all kind of good deeds, all devotional deeds, all for Krishna consciousness, all deeds that is I mean believed to be good and doing the service to Krishna, which is actually not coming under pap karma and punya karma. So we have to be basically in the service of Krishna always. So that's the good action, because as from the lessons that all of you have taken during these years that I have been associated with you, I've understood that if you have pap karma, then also you have to take a rebirth, and if you have punya karma, also you have to take a rebirth to have that. So this is what I feel, Prabhuji.
Okay, Minati, what do you? Well, so or
Prabhuji,
anybody can ask. Yeah, Sanjeev.
yeah, Prabhuji, what implies in that zone is exactly what you said, why bad things happen to good people.
Okay. Yeah, that's
So
the
when
point I was trying to draw attention to.
so your present actions are good, but because you're in that zone, your past actions have caused you some suffering.
Oh, that's precisely the point which I wanted to draw. In this zone, as I said, it's a best win-win. You know, whatever you desire happens, which means your present actions are good, but because you're getting fruits of all your good past actions, you know, whatever you desire is happening. And here, when we get suffering, in general, when we want what we want, when that doesn't happen, the suffering comes upon us. When what is the suffering situation? जो भगवान, you know, भरत प्रहलाद महाराज बहुत अच्छी डेफिनेशन करते हैं. Whatever is prior to you, when that is taken away, and what is apriya to you, when that is delivered to you, you get suffering. So it's very simple. So here in this, when we move from here to here, know that we are not in the best of the we have come upon, we are encountering some suffering situations. We are encountering situations where things are not really going according to our plans, where you know, we are getting sufferings, we are getting problems for which we can't see, we can't put a finger on anything in what we have done in our present times. So this is a situation where our commitment to Krishna consciousness is put to test. When we are in this situation, everything is rosy, everything is great, wow. When we come here, suddenly we land ourselves in problems. We start getting health problems, we start getting financial problems, we start getting relationship problems, and problems, job related problem, boss related problem, whatever, economy related problem. Problems suddenly start popping up from nowhere, and suddenly we don't really know why it's happening, whatever is happening. What should then we do? What should then we continue to do? We continue to do with our positive present actions. As Minade Mataji mentioned, that you have to do your Krishna consciousness activities, having learned that this is ultimately a karma, and this is a karma, and this has to be done, no matter whether whether we are in the condition of enjoying or in the condition of suffering. Positive present actions have to be done. Now, this is a great uh, change. Now, come to the other side. We are here. Kanchan Nataji, you want to say something?
I have a question if I'm allowed to ask.
Hmm. Go ahead.
There are not many times we see that maybe we don't realize it in our lives, but when we see somebody else, they are suffering and they still continue to do the same wrong things and they are not able to understand also that they are suffering and they are doing wrong. What in that case should be the implication?
Sure. Yeah, we'll answer that in the course of our discussion. So, we spoke about actually a situation somewhere here that he's suffering, and suffering in some person may be suffering because of his past bad karma is now getting delivered, and his present actions are also pathetic. He's doing everything wrong. What should we do? What should this person do? We will talk about that, but in general we know that by common sense we know that this person has to be brought into this zone at least. ये यहाँ से यहाँ तो कम से कम आ सकता है. So his present action, past actions, as Binati Mataji said, that are not really in our control. We can't undo that. But present actions are in our control. So we have to come at least from here, this zone to this zone. वो उसको कैसे लाना है, that's a question. That is something that we need to deliberate. It can be through preaching, it can be through inspiring, it can be through counseling, it can be, just by feeding prasad, giving them taste of Krishna. But can be done by in multiple ways. We have to find a way and means to bring people from this zone to this zone at least, so that their at least present actions become proper. Agar, and that will at least help them cope up with the situation in a much better way. Last situation is this is in our control to act positively. So your past actions are good, because of which you are getting a good result. Good you're enjoying activities of your better results, output of your good past actions, but you're nullifying it or destroying it by negative present actions. Now this is somewhere a person in this condition can be extremely distressed, but a person in this condition might have better sense. He will, because he has done well in past, has acted piously in past. Maybe a person in this zone might have better ability to change his actions, present actions. Now than the person in this zone, because this person, if he's extremely suffering condition, he may not have any ability left in him to understand anything, whatever you may speak, whatever philosophy we may speak. But a person in this zone has better chance, better probability of understanding philosophy and changing his action, changing his present action. Now he is already enjoying the benefits of good past actions. All he need to do is to change his present actions so that he can move from this to this zone, or at least from here he can come here. Let's let's put this with a acronym. Acronym is team. If you happen to be in this situation, uh, where your where your present actions are all good, you're performing Krishna consciousness activities, everything is good, you don't want to harm anyone, you want to follow all the rules and regulations, and you're just trying to do some seva, this is like uh, this is where you are as far as present actions are concerned, but you are suffering. Suffering the reactions from your past actions. What should you do? Answer is tolerate. Uh, can somebody elaborate why they have to tolerate? In one word or one
Hare
small
Krishna, Babuji.
sentence. Yes, Mataji.
We should tolerate so that the time that the karmas which we have done gets eradicated, and then whatever the good karmas we are doing currently should come to a level that they start reaping their fruits.
Okay. Next is evacuate. Sorry, evacuate to T. That's what we discussed in the other day. That if you are suffering reactions, suffering reactions of your bad past karmas, and if your present karmas are also bad, we need to evacuate from this box to some other box. We need to get out of there. If we stay here for too long, we'll probably land up in animal species. We'll just become from human to become animal in no time. We can just get lost completely, and then we may we may fall into our evolution process can take millions and millions of births again. So this is a very dangerous situation to be in. Appreciate is having appreciate that you're getting a lot of things which you don't deserve. Why don't deserve? Because your present actions are negative. Present actions are negative, but you're still getting a lot of facility which is coming out of your good past karma. Again, our discussion, we are focusing more on the common people uh, as a part of for this. A lot of these things may apply to all of us because we are also not pure devotees, but pure devotees को ये सब apply नहीं होता है. Pure devotees like Srila Prabhupada, all our senior devotees, for them these things don't apply. But for us, we are all we keep moving in all these four zones all the time. Sometimes we are here, sometimes we are here, sometimes we feel here, and we are, we this is where our positions is. For us, the position is very dynamic. We don't remain static in any of these boxes. We keep moving. So in this case, the suggestion is appreciate. Why? Appreciate that because of good past karma, you're getting a lot of facility, and at least so your current actions don't deserve what you have. So appreciate and come to at least this stage, come to at least this zone, move from left to right zone. And last one is maximize means if you everything is all right with you, everything is so, which indicates that all your past karmas are fructifying into good facility being provided to you. If you think you have a good home, stable life, stable relationships, stable family life, um decent financial position, may not be too rich, but may not it's not that every day you have to think from where to get meal, uh, decent education, decent looks, decent everything is okay, and you could find yourself in this situation. Whenever we are in this zone, we have to maximize because this is पता नहीं ये कितना दिन चलेगा, पता नहीं ये situation कितने दिन रहेगी. We may get pushed from this to this, and then we may come to the stage where we have to tolerate. सांस्थितिक शस्व भारत, कि ये सुख दुख तो आते रहेंगे, तो जब तक सुख है तब हमको भक्ति मैक्सिमाइज करनी चाहिए. अच्छे से भक्ति करनी चाहिए, अच्छे से जपा करना चाहिए, अच्छे से भगवत गीता पढ़नी चाहिए, भागवत पढ़ना चाहिए, सेवा करनी चाहिए. बिकॉज ये गोल्डन ईरा है. वी डोंट नो व्हेन वी विल टू हाउ लॉन्ग दिस विल लास्ट. अब द मोमेंट वी गेट पुश फ्रॉम दिस जोन टू दिस जोन, टेस्ट चालू होती है, हमारे कमिटमेंट की टेस्ट होती है, हमारे पेशेंस की टेस्ट होती है, हमारे टॉलरेंस की टेस्ट होती है. एंड if we are not in good association of devotees, we may lot of people may leave Krishna consciousness from this zone because यहाँ tolerance required है. Our ability to tolerate determines if we are able to stay in this zone. ये zone भी permanent नहीं होता है. If we are in this zone for some टाइम वी मे कम अप हियर ऑल्सो। ऐसा नहीं कि एक बार हम यहाँ आ गए तो ये परमानेंटली हम यहीं रहेंगे। फॉर फ्यू डेज वी कुड बी इन दिस जोन, अगेन वी मे गो बैक टू दिस जोन, एंड ये भी परमानेंट नहीं होता है, यहाँ से भी हम नीचे आ सकते हैं। बट एज लॉन्ग एज वी आर मूविंग ऑन द राइट हैंड साइड बिटवीन दीज टू जोन्स, वी आर स्टिल बेटर वी आर स्टिल better off. But if you don't have a right association, if you don't have right knowledge, if you don't have right philosophy, and then we are trying to practice Krishna consciousness, do positive actions, then we may not stay. If the moment we start getting some suffering, we may either come to this box or come to this box. We may switch over to the left hand side very quickly without we realizing it ourselves. So um, so that's why it's important to understand where we stand and what should we do when we are in this zone, when we feel everything is nice and rosy. Maximize, बहुत अच्छे से भक्ति करो, बिकॉज पता नहीं नीचे आने के बाद भक्ति करने की इंस्पिरेशन कम हो जाए, भक्ति करने की इच्छा कम हो जाए, फैसिलिटी भी कम हो सकती है। ऐसा नहीं कि इच्छा है बट फैसिलिटी नहीं है, क्या करेंगे? हाउ हाउ लॉन्ग यू कैन, व्हाट यू कैन डू? सो सो द टॉलरेट करना पड़ता है, दैट टाइम वी हैव टू टॉलरेट एंड वी टू वेट फॉर वी टू शिफ्ट टू दिस जोन। और यहाँ आ गए तो अच्छे से और अच्छे से भक्ति करो, डू योर बेस्ट, डोंट बिकम लेजी, डोंट बिकम लिथार्जिक, डोंट पोस्टपोन, अच्छे काम पोस्टपोन मत करो, एंड डू योर बेस्ट, ट्राई योर बेस्ट, बिकम बेस्ट डिवोटी दैट यू नो। एंड जब यहाँ आएंगे तब प्रे करो, प्रे करो, डिवोटी का एसोसिएशन ले लो, गाइडेंस ले लो, सो दैट विथ कृष्णाज मर्सी यू कैन अगेन बी प्लेस्ड इन दिस जोन। सो ये this is where we play around, this is where we play around. Tolerate, evacuate, appreciate, and maximize. Now, tolerate, not much you can do to rectify the past actions. So one can continue to do positive in the positive present actions to draw to avoid further misfortune. So so practical example can be, you can, you have never smoked, but you get diagnosed by say cancer, or by suffer heart attack. What you can do, continue to do positive actions. ऐसा मत सोचो कि अभी मैंने कभी सिगरेट नहीं पिया और मुझे कैंसर हो गया है तो फायदा क्या है सिगरेट ना पीने का, लेट मी स्टार्ट स्मोकिंग 100 सिगरेट्स अ डे। वैसे भी होना है, सिगरेट पी के भी होना है और सिगरेट ना पी के भी होना है, तो लेट मी एटलीस्ट स्लीप, लेट मी स्टार्ट स्मोकिंग। सो वी मे स्विच फ्रॉम दिस, इफ यू डोंट हैव प्रॉपर फिलोसॉफिकल अंडरस्टैंडिंग, वी मे स्विच फ्रॉम दिस टू दिस जोन। जब हमारे निगेटिव रिएक्शंस तो आ ही जाएंगे, हमको कैंसर डिटेक्ट हो ही जाएगा, तो अब हमें यहाँ टॉलरेट करते रहना है। टॉलरेशन में इफ यू स्टार्ट स्मोकिंग वी कैन मे एग्रेवेट अवर डिसीज। जो डिसीज से हम 1 साल बाद मरने वाले हैं, उसमें उसके बदले हम 1 महीने में मर जाएंगे। नाउ so we don't have to go from here to here at any given stage. At any given stage of our life we have to be very careful of not switching from right side to left side. हम लेफ्ट साइड में कहीं भी जाएंगे हम नुकसान में रहेंगे। सो दैट्स व्हाई वी हैव टू अंडरस्टैंड कि टॉलरेट इज बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट वर्ड है इन भगवत गीता। It's introduced very early in Bhagavad Gita 2.14 श्लोका में ही इंट्रोड्यूस कर दिया है भगवान ने कि टॉलरेट करना है, सम रहना है, शांत रहना है, सुख दुख से विचलित नहीं होना है, कुछ अच्छा हुआ तो भी ज्यादा खुश नहीं होना है, ज्यादा बुरा हुआ तो भी दुखी नहीं होना है। स्टे इक्वल इन हैप्पीनेस डिस्ट्रेस, सुख दुख समय कृत्वा लाभा लाभ हो जाया जय। सो जो हो रहा है वो उसमें आप मेंटेन इक्विलिब्रियम, मेंटेन इक्वल मूड, एंड अगर वो आप कर पाओगे, ये लाइफ के चैलेंजेस आप झेल पाओगे, तो आप सक्सेसफुल हो जाओगे। यू कैन बी एबल टू परफॉर्म भक्ति नाइसली, यू कैन come to Krishna at the end of this life. So tolerate is most important. Evacuate, immediately stop negative present karma and get at least into uh, the T zone, tolerate zone. वो तो होना सबसे बेहतर है। Positive past but negative present karma. Appreciate that despite of being bad you are getting good because of the mercy of God and his law of karma. ये तुम्हारा कोई कंट्रीब्यूशन नहीं है। ये आपका अप्रिसिएशन बढ़ना चाहिए भगवान के प्रति, भगवान के लॉ ऑफ कर्मा ये भगवान का है। इट्स वर्किंग अंडर कृष्णा's इंस्ट्रक्शंस, मया अध्यक्षेण प्रकृति सूयते सचराचर। सो ये हमारा कोई कंट्रीब्यूशन नहीं है। ये भगवान लॉ चला रहे हैं, भगवान ने क्रिएट किया हुआ है, भगवान के मर्जी से चलता है. सो और अप्रिसिएशन फॉर गॉड इंक्रीज शुड इंक्रीज इफ वी डिस्पाइट ऑफ डूइंग बैड थिंग्स वी आर गेटिंग गुड रिजल्ट्स. कैन uh, think of people who are enjoying facilities, though they are doing all kind of horrible activities but they enjoy a lot of facilities. A lot of time we get a question that ऐसे कैसे हमारा नेबर इतना कमीना है, इतना बुरा है, और ये पाप किया है, वो पाप किया है, हमको पता है, मैंने देखा है, मेरे पास एविडेंस है, फोटो है, वीडियो है, बट फिर भी एंजॉय कर रहा है, फिर भी अच्छा है, घर बार अच्छा है, बड़ी बड़ी गाड़ी खरीदता है, बड़े हर 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 वेकेशन को फॉरेन जाता है, और हम लोग सफर कर रहे हैं, अच्छा काम करते हुए भी सफर कर रहे हैं. सो हम अच्छा काम करना बंद करें क्या, हम यहाँ आ जाए क्या, सो यहाँ आने से फायदा होता है क्या. So what should we do? So if I'm in this zone, I should my appreciation or God should increase, not that I should come into this zone. So I should at least try to come to this zone by rectifying my present actions to from negative to positive. So, so this person, when he corrects his personal positive present day action, he come from this zone to this zone. So evacuate person come from this zone. He can come to the tolerate stage. So there is lot of interaction, lot of maximize. We spoke that if you are in this zone, maximize most conducive situation for bhakti. So take maximum advantage of it. Do your best. Don't be lethargic. Don't be lazy. वो गलत एसोसिएशन मत लो. यहाँ पे हो तो भक्तों के संग में ही रहो. So that they will encourage you to do more and more bhakti. And but if you take wrong association, they will push you to the left hand side where you have good past karma but bad negative karma, bad present karma. वो जोन में मत आओ. मैक्सिमाइज करो आपकी भक्ति, बिकॉज जब सफरिंग आएगी आपकी भक्ति विचलित हो सकती है, दिक्कतें आ सकती है, इच्छा होते हुए भी जपा नहीं हो सकता है, ऐसे सिचुएशंस आ सकती है. सो सो प्रेजेंट ऑफ कास्ट कर्मा. T, tolerate, E, evacuate, A, appreciate, and M, maximize. That is how we deal with life's problem. Think of your problem. Think of your problem where you stand today. Think where you stand today, and think where you stood in past, and think when you will move zones, how you will deal with that situation. This has to be instructive to us. This has to be saved as an instruction to us to understand that I might be here today. I may drop down to this box very easily. Tomorrow morning I may go to office and suddenly I may know that my job is not there anymore. I have been asked to go home, and then for next 6 months I may not get a job. So I may from this on Sunday I can come to this stage on say Monday morning. But again, 6 months down the line, I may get a job. I may have this, may come back to this zone also. So यहाँ से हमका it's important that we stay on the right hand side. We stay. That's why we circle this. We created an oval circle that कहीं ना कहीं तो रहो, but यहाँ पे रहो. Don't switch over to the left hand side. वहाँ disaster है. ये circle is a disaster. So stay here somewhere. Uh, Tolerate करो. There's no option, because if your job has gone for practically no reason, no fault of yours, because for whatever the fault, whatever could be the reason your bosses may give you, but for no reason, if you lose job suddenly, then you from this to this, you move from this to this box to this box, and then you have to tolerate. You have to seriously tolerate, and you have to continue perform with good positive actions despite of all the negativities, despite of all the sufferings that you have. So this is critical learning for all of us. Now let's understand how Bhishma Dev concluded discussion with Yudhishthir. Bhishma Dev saying, "Oh my dear son Yudhishthira, what terrible sufferings and injustice you good souls have suffered, even though you are the sons of religion personified. Only because you are protected by the Brahmins, religion, and the Supreme Lord Himself did you manage to survive." Bhishma spoke reassuringly, trying to dispel Yudhishthira's despondency by pointing out how he was under divine protection. Everything was going on according to the Supreme Lord's will, and no one should grieve for such inevitabilities. कोई किसी को दुख नहीं करना चाहिए, बिकॉज जो कुछ आपके जीवन में हो रहा था वो भगवान की इच्छा के अनुरूप हो रहा था. सो उसके लिए आपको दुख नहीं करना चाहिए. सो इफ यू गो बैक टू दिस, पांडवास वर हियर मोस्ट ऑफ देयर लाइफ. दे बीन सेंट, दे बीन, दे इंद्रप्रस्थ जब हुआ तब वो यहाँ थे. जब द्यूत क्रीड़ा हुई तो यहाँ आ गए. देन वनवास हुआ. देन यू नो सो मेनी द्रौपदी डिस्रोबिंग इंसिडेंट्स हुआ, एंड दे हैड टू टॉलरेट. They had to keep tolerating it, keep tolerating it, keep tolerating it, and ultimately the Mahabharat war hua. That also tolerated. Everyone had to tolerate because all their friends and relatives were getting killed in front of their eyes. They themselves were instrumental in killing those, so they had to tolerate because that's the will of the Lord. And eventually they came to this zone at the end of the war when Yudhishthir became king. The Rajasuya Yagya performed kiya, and the he reformed the whole kingdom. He established order in his kingdom, and after completing all his duties, they left for the heavenly. They left the kingdom. They went into Himalayas and left their bodies and went back to Krishna. So we so this is what Bhishma Dev advised Yudhishthir and Pandavas, that tolerate. ये everything जो हो रहा है, and much worse could have happened, but because you are protected by Supreme Lord, you were saved, you could survive. So हमें भी वो विश्वास होना चाहिए कि जो हमारे लाइफ में थोड़ा सा बुरा हो रहा है, lot worse could have happened. Because we are devotees, we are trying to be devotees, we are uh, trying to serve Lord, serve devotees. We may, they are by their mercy, जो हमारी सफरिंग 100 की आने वाली थी वो मे भी 50 की आ रही है. मीन्स इट्स कट डाउन 50% रिड्यूस होके ही आ रही है. पहले से ही कंसेशन मिल चुका है हमको, ऐसा नहीं कि हमको पूरी सफरिंग आ रही है. सो वी शुड अंडरस्टैंड दैट, एंड देयरफॉर विद डिटर्मिनेशन वी शुड स्टे, try and stay on the right hand side of the chart. Another incidents which happened in the again Bhagavatam, where we know that I'll not speak this so that if you want you can speak about this incidents. I will explain the same and you can let me know what you think. ये incidents हुआ है जब देवकी वसुदेव की शादी हो रही थी, when they were getting married, and Kamsa himself personally was driving their chariot, and बारात निकल रही थी, बारात जा रही थी, तभी आकाशवाणी होती है. That celestial voice tells Kamsa that Devki's eighth son will kill you, will become the cause of your death. And Kamsa becomes mad, and Kamsa says that देवकी का आठवां पुत्र तभी जब पैदा होगा तब मुझे मारेगा, तो मैं आज ही देवकी का नाश कर देता हूँ. I'll kill her right away. And he pulls on his sword. And now Vasudev is Devki's husband, and duty of husband is to protect his wife. And Vasudev could not have fought war with physical war with Kamsa because Kamsa was supremely powerful. But Vasudeva engaged Kamsa in philosophical war of words, and by doing that uh, he defeated. Bhajan voice is coming from the background. No, Mataji. Mataji, when you advance in devotional service, you hear bhajan all the time. So that's a good indication. Don't worry. But no kirtan is not played at my end. So that's fine. so so Vasudev engaged in discussion with Kamsa. He engaged Kamsa in discussion that that all you want are Devaki's children. I promise to you. I have never spoken. I have never lied in my life. You know that, and you have my words that all our children we will deliver it to you, and you do whatever you are free to do, whatever you want to do, and we will not ask any question. But spare Devaki for now. Don't kill her. Don't. This is an auspicious event. Don't engage yourself in this aghori karma of killing a woman or killing a helpless woman, that too she happened to be your own sister. It couldn't have been, it can't become more sinful than this. So don't do it. So he engaged with Kamsa in a war of words and defeated him, but in the process protected his wife. That's how Devaki was protected, and she went on to have 8 children. Lord Krishna was born, and eventually he killed Kamsa. So the prediction did become true, but Vasudev played his part. He did his duty as a husband. Another beautiful incidents come from Ramayana. Now you have to keep thinking in terms of those 4 zones, and put categorize everyone there, and accordingly decide what has to happen where. uh, so Lord Ram was to be coronated as king, and on the following day, but on the night before, he was called by his mother. So okay, called by his mother, and was asked to go to forest instead of becoming king tomorrow morning. Ram was told to go to forest and stay there for 14 years. Don't come back. Immediately you should leave. Kaikai's words were very, very harsh. And when Ram heard it, Dashrath almost left his body, hearing hearing his own wife, whom he loved so much, spoke in such harsh way to his son. The Ram was not just his son, his life and soul. Ram was life and soul of the whole of Ayodhya Nagari, all the population. But Kaikai spoke in such a harsh way that broke Dashath's heart. And Ram became very grave, and he said, "Okay, mother, if that is what my father wants, I will do it." He accepted that order, and he went into forest. Same Lord, when his wife was abducted, he said he accepted his order of his father as a will of destiny, and therefore he did not fought with that. But when Lord Ram's wife was kidnapped, uh, and then Lord Ram assembled army and went to Lanka, fought a big war with Ravana, defeated him, killed him, and got his wife back. There he acted to protect his wife, acted in his capacity as husband to protect his wife. So from the zone point of view, even Lord Ram, in the first case, he tolerated. He tolerated because he had no fault, for no fault of his. Suddenly, uh, negative karmic reactions came upon him. Now he's supreme lord, but when he's playing part of as a perfect man, we should analyze him as if he is a person. And so he was in this zone, and he acted in the positive way. Continue acting in positive way, continue doing what he's supposed to do. What we are supposed to do, we are supposed to do our duty. And in every situation our duty can be different, and there will always be higher duty and lower duty. So in this case, Lord Ram, when he was asked to go to forest, he did his duty as a son. And when his wife was abducted, he did his duty as husband. So he continued to act, though he was, for the purpose of this pastime, he was constantly in this zone. He continued to act positively. Similarly, we have a incidence of Karna. Now, Karna was, in fact, Karna was in, for large part of his life, Karna lived a decent life. He had, though he was born as a Sutaputra, he was recognized as a Sutaputra. All his present actions were good. So Karna was very much in this zone. He was tolerating being labeled as a Sutaputra, as an inferior community person, though he had Kshatra Tej, though he had Kavach Kundal. No, who is in who in Shudra family is born with Kavachakundala. So he was born, his glowing skin, he was born with that armored uh, guard. And so he had all the symptoms that of a Kshatriya, but he was labeled as a Sutaputra. So, like Vidura, Karna was also in this zone largely. And all his present actions are also largely according to the Dharma. Karna, when he saw that bad is happening to him, he decided to respond by doing bad to others. His response to when bad situation, suffering came upon him, then instead of continue to perform positive activity, he said, "Let me start giving suffering to others." And Karna moved from this to this section very quickly. And why? Because he wanted to make Duryodhan happy. So whatever would have pleased Duryodhan, Karna would have done that. And if it means saying harsh words for Draupadi, so be it. He gave this idea that if she's like a prostitute, then what's the harm in she being disrobed in the open assembly in front of everyone? What's the harm? Anyway, she's like a prostitute. So that so he's he had suffered. He had suffered enormously because of his past wrong activities, past long karma. But and, but just for pleasing Duryodhana, he started he came into this zone and he started doing horrible activities. To his credit, he regretted them later. He regretted, but he continued doing those wrong things till the last breath. So that's again a miserable uh, condition to be in. And the last example we will discuss before we go to the question answer is um, Dhritarashtra, our favorite character from Mahabharata, happens to be Dhritarashtra among Kauravas. And Dhritarashtra, um, now his present past was bad, because of which he was bound in without eyes. His present was also bad because he could have easily prevented that war, but he was so weak he couldn't speak like a king to the Duryodhan, neither he could speak like a father to the Duryodhan. And both their capacities, he could have prevented that war from happening, but he was unfortunate in one way. Therefore, he was, because of the past reactions, he got a very pathetic. He was born blind from birth, and he never could do right things in his life. At some stage, he says that he speaks, Krishna has come to Hastinapur as a Shantidut, and that time there is a conversation where everyone is trying to convince Dhritarashtra to give 5 villages and prevent from war from happening. At some stage, Dhritarashtra says that if it is will of the Almighty to let that war happen, who am I and small immortal, small mortal to have capacity to stop that from happening? S- धृतराष्ट्र इज आर्ग्यूइंग सेइंग दैट अगर ये भगवान की इच्छा है कि ये वॉर हो, तो मैं कौन होता हूं? मैं तो साधारण जीव हूं। मैं कौन होता हूं ये वॉर को, भगवान की इच्छा को रोकने के वाला? The question is not if you are able to stop, change the desire of the Lord or not. The question is, are you able to do your duty or not? If your duty requires you to speak the truth to your son, you should have done that, irrespective of what the will of the Lord. The things may still, war would have still taken place, but ultimately you would not have considered been responsible for that war. Then the responsibility would have shifted to Duryodhana. But Dhritarashtra never did what he was supposed to do as a king or also as a father, because of which he just demonstrated weakness in his heart to do right thing. So his present actions could never become positive. So he could not move from evacuate to team tolerate stage. And that's why that's how the Dhritarashtra happens to be the worst character in the Mahabharata. So we understood that uh, how these zones play part in our life, how these zones are critical and how they play part in our life. What should we do about them? If we have to understand which zone where we belong to right now, where we are in which zone right now, and where we can potentially go if if we were to do wrong things. If you are in this maximized zone, if you start doing wrong things by wrong association or by any means, by suddenly your actions become from right to wrong, you will switch from maximize to appreciate zone, and from appreciate eventually will shift to evacuate zone also, where my present actions are bad and my I start getting my reactions are of also my bad past actions. So suddenly may from maximize one may find oneself in appreciate, or one may find oneself in evacuate zone also. So our effort should be to remain on the right hand side of the chart, and do positive. Now we have knowledge, we have facility, we should try to do positive. We should do japa. We should do read Bhagavad Gita. We should read Bhagavatam, and we should cultivate constant remembrance of Krishna in this lifetime. And if your past actions are good, present actions are good, Krishna's mercy available, we may go back to Godhead at the end of this life. So I will stop here. I will continue to show this chart. Uh, I'll request everyone to think of their own self. Where do they land? Where do they stand? And what is it that you are going to do, you should do, to protect yourself from not going to the left hand side? And if you are at the bottom on the right hand side, how you can go to the top notch, top box on the right hand side by staying on the right hand side. So I'll just pause. If I'll just see if there are any questions anyone may have. Kanchan Mataji, you had a question. You may ask that now.
Yes, Prabhuji, I just had a question that when we are in the negative zone, uh, we should evacuate from to T to tolerate. But at times there are when we are into negative, we might not have that capability to understand that we are in a negative zone, and we only depend on cursing things, blaming other things, whatever is happening in our life. So how to create that consciousness in that stage? That we need to shift from this stage to that stage.
So right now, a person in this zone may not have that consciousness. We can imagine what his beyond tolerance. I mean, how much suffering that person might be in. So he need mercy from devotees. So as a devotee, we should try to give pray for him. We should connect somehow that person with Krishna consciousness by way of giving prasad, by way of taking him to darshan, take darshan, giving him some books, engaging with that person for some conversation on Krishna consciousness by different ways and different means, using which we can try and create little sukruti in this person so that he stops doing the negative actions in the present times. What we cannot change is this part. Whatever the sufferings that will come because of this, we he has to tolerate them, but at least he can rectify his present actions. So one may not get one may get cancer, but one may, if one is leading a lifestyle, a healthy lifestyle, one may get better immune system to deal with that disease, something like that. So if you spoil our present activity, then even that immunity is gone. That you can be completely left to the suffering of this world. So this is a very suffering state. It's not very easy to for anyone to understand philosophy in this, if they happen to be in this stage. So best thing is to do is to basically give them some engagement. Engage them, ये ना केना प्रकारे ना मन कृष्ण निवेशते, किसी भी प्रकार से उनको कृष्ण का एक्सपोजर दीजिएगा, कृष्ण में एंगेज कीजिएगा, and that will eventually help them move from this box to this box. uh, it's up to Krishna, and it's up to that individual also, but it's up to Krishna. Somehow or the other we have to create opportunity for them to connect with Krishna through prasad, True, prasad is a very easy means for such connection, because nobody refused to eat prasad when offered. That much piety still luckily is there in India, at least, that prasad, if when offered, people accept it. So that way, people sukruti can be created by connecting, creating a contact with Krishna, and eventually that can lead them to move from this zone to this zone. So this zone to this zone, the only difference is in present action. We are not able to change any of our past actions, and so that those sufferings will continue to come, but at least we don't multiply our problems, we don't make them worse by doing wrong things as we are doing it here. Okay, Vandaji?
Okay, supposedly if I am into this zone, negative zone, what is that one action that will at least help me? Even eating prasad, somebody is offering me, that is okay. But what if I'm not getting any association of such
Search for
devotees?
devotees. Search for devotees is first thing that you should do. If
But
you
the
happen to
willingness
be
will
on the
come, no? I think when the negative is there, I think there will be a lack of willingness also to, and understanding obviously will not be there, no? Then in
understanding,
that case, how to deal with this?
so our free will always remains with us, and so devotees are out there to give us their mercy. And in
Hmm.
this condition, if we and they search for people like us only, who are in negative zones. We are their perfect customers. We sing that. पतित पावन हेतु तव अवतार मोह सम पतित प्रभु ना पाइबे आर। मेरे से गिरा हुआ कोई इंसान आपको मिलेगा ही नहीं। आपको पतित पावन करने हेतु महाप्रभु अगर आप आए हो, अगर वो आपका उद्देश्य है, तो आपको तो मुझे इमीडिएटली डिलीवर करना चाहिए, बिकॉज मुझसे ज्यादा पतित कोई नहीं है। ये दिस इज प्रेयर नरोत्तम दास ठाकुर हैज रिटन फॉर द ग्लोरिफिकेशन ऑफ चैतन्य महाप्रभु, दैट पतित पावन हेतु तव अवतार मौसम पतित प्रभु ना पाई बे आर। और कोई नहीं मिलेगा आपको, मैं परफेक्ट कस्टमर हूँ आपका। सो वी शुड, सो देर इज अ impulse and there is a compulsion. Impulse will not allow us to deal with devotees properly or to listen to their philosophical advice. But devotees are also expert in engaging different people according to their nature. No, we hear that one size doesn't fit all. So similarly,
Hmm.
one instruction doesn't fit all. So if आपको जैसे जिसका नेचर है, जैसे जिसका इंक्लिनेशन है, जैसे जिसकी कंडीशन है, वैसे उसको प्रीच किया जाता है. So if a devotee see a person, someone, something like this, so he will preach to him accordingly, at least by at least to reduce the scale of his suffering can be the immediate priority. For example, अन्नदान program है भिवंडी में. We all of you probably would have heard of it, and all of you would have been connected with it. That अन्नदान happens to whom? Those people are almost in this zone, aren't they? The slums of Bhiwandi, people in slums of Bhiwandi who get prasad every day, where the vehicle comes and the people line up there. People, what do they do? What does devotee do? They go there in a vehicle which is branded with Prabhupada pictures, Lord Krishna's picture, Radha Madhav picture. It's all, it's all been pasted from the outside only. This is ISKCON vehicle coming, and on top of it they play music. They play kirtan. Srila Prabhupada kirtan on top of it. So whenever they go to a village, they park that vehicle. The vehicle can be seen as mercy coming from Krishna, and the on top of it the kirtan is playing, and all the people assemble, they dance to the kirtan, and then they take prasad, they go eat, and then they continue with their routine activities. Now if you think about it, devotees are very expertly are engaging those people in the service of Krishna, because honoring prasad is also seva. Dancing in the kirtan is a seva. Now, who doesn't like to dance? Everyone dance. Every one of us like to dance. We just dance sometimes in the disco tunes of some Bollywood or Hollywood music. Sometimes we may, but if a catchy music is played, we may come and dance on the kirtan tune also. So dancing is natural to everyone. So devotees engage those people to dance on the Hare Krishna Mahamantra tune. So those people, everyone who was there were here, and everyone is given slowly connection with Krishna. When Prabhupada went to America and preached to the Americans, it's not that those people were here. they were already doing सर्वधर्मान परित्यज्य, मीन्स सार्वत धर्मों का तो नाश किया था उन्होंने, सब छोड़ दिया था, घर छोड़ दिया था, बीवी थी नहीं किसी की भी, दे यूज्ड टू met with all females were there is open mating that used to happen. There was no restrictions, no compulsions. Drugs were available plenty, all day people used to smoke. 1965 America in 1965 was a terrible place. So what did Prabhupada did? Prabhupada simply sang kirtan in a garden, and all those people who used to be otherwise in the nightclub, they assembled in the garden and started dancing to the Prabhupada tune. And some of them started chanting also. It's a very simple mantra. So they started chanting and dancing in the Hare Krishna tune. And eventually Prabhupada, they started coming to Prabhupada for eating vegetarian food, for eating prasad. They didn't even knew what's happening. But eventually we know that all their consciousness got purified, and then they from this they came to this, and then this to this. Many of those devotees are still there. Dinbandhu Prabhu is one such disciple of Srila Prabhupada, who says that I was in this zone to this zone and I came finally to this zone. Now he is living in Vrindavan since 1984. What more you want? So we could be in here, but if we associate with devotees in the right spirit, and devotees, it's it depends. It was Srila Prabhupada's mercy on the devotees that he went to America and he converted those Americans into devotees, perfect Vaishnavas. So devotees are anyway merciful. We and they know how to engage us. So we just have to pray. We just have to be open, remain open to receive mercy from devotees. And if we have that, eventually we will get that mercy and we will move these boxes very quickly. Okay, Mataji?
जी प्रभु, थैंक यू।
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी।
Hare Krishna.
प्रभु जी, अभी माता जी ने कहा है जैसा उसका भी थोड़ा फिर से थोड़ा बताया। मतलब हम लोग को पता रहता है, तो भक्तों के बारे में पता रहता है, तो हम लोग नेगेटिव नेगेटिव रहेंगे, तो फिर हम लोग उनके पास जाएंगे, ऐसे करेंगे। लेकिन कुछ कुछ लोग ऐसे होते हैं कि उनको मतलब एथिस्ट, मतलब लिस्ट बॉर्डर होते हैं, मतलब एथिस्ट रहते हैं, उनके साथ भी नेगेटिव नेगेटिव होता है, तो फिर उनको कोई वक्त आके बचाएगा या फिर वो खुद से तो नहीं जाएगा,
तो
तो फिर
दोनों हो
उनका।
सकते हैं। जैसे कि भक्त भी जाते रहते हैं, दे कीप गोइंग आउट बाय दोनों तरीके से भक्त कैन एंगेज देम, devotees keep going out. That's why ours is a preaching movement. Ours is not ours is so that's the difference that you will find in ISKCON temples and all other temples that we see in India. The preaching is predominant in ISKCON. The focus is on preaching. Focus is on go out, why we started these classes. Why every time we start with a new Bhagavad Gita class. Now, all of those people, they could have some little piety somewhere, some little inclination to know a little bit about Krishna, some little inclination कि suffering क्यों आ रही है, ऐसे सवाल होते हैं. Even if you as I said, even if you are an atheist, nobody will tell their child कि brush करो मत करो, it's okay. आपको करना है तो करो, नहीं तो मत करो, कुछ नहीं, दांत खराब होने हैं तो हो जाएंगे, नहीं होने हैं तो नहीं होंगे. ये nobody, we don't function like this. So some stage, even while suffering, even though our bad karma is also there, this the nature की जो cause and effect relationship है, that makes us inquisitive about our suffering. And then if we are if the mercy from Lord is there, we may come in contact with devotees at around that time when we are inquisitive. But every now and then, every one of us who is suffering does get this question कि किसी को नहीं लगता कि मैं बुरा हूं. Everyone think of themselves to be in this zone कि मैं तो अच्छा हूं, मैं तो अच्छे काम कर रहा हूं, और मेरे साथ बुरा हो रहा है. So everyone may think of themselves to be in this zone only कि they justify, even though uh, you know even if even the thief justify their actions. We see that politicians justify their actions. Uh, the those who cause declare bankruptcy and go away in other countries and lead a lavish life, they justify their actions. It's not that they're saying ki we are doing bad karma, our present karma are bad. There was a story uh, in America. A thief entered a home. A thief, हाउस घर खाली था, उसने खिड़की से कूदा तो इन द रूम वेयर ही जम्प्ड विच ही एंटर्ड, वहां पे चाकू रखा था नीचे, और उसका पैर गलती से वो चाकू के ऊपर गिर गया। सो एक तो वो घर खाली था, वो चोरी करने के उद्देश्य से वहां गया था, हाउस ब्रेक किया उसने, एंड ही जम्प्ड इनसाइड द हाउस फॉर स्टीलिंग, फॉर रॉबरी, एंड हिज फीट फेल ऑन अ नाइफ एंड ही गॉट अ कट, and he sued that house owner for being negligent in keeping his knife, because of which he suffered a cut, because of which he suffered some medical injury, and that he won some award for some $10,000. So uh, this is where even a thief consider himself to be, he doesn't consider himself that I'm doing wrong thing. वो बोला कि उसने गलत किया. We are all expert in justifying our actions. So he said, I am I have to steal because of my bad past karma, but stealing what I'm doing, उसने क्या गलत किया, उसने चाकू क्यों रखा नीचे. So this is how we always function. So it's not that we will think of ourselves as negative always, and therefore, and because of this cause and effect relationship, this questioning often comes into our mind. It comes into everyone's mind कि मेरे साथ बुरा क्यों हो रहा है, because nobody consider ourselves to be the villain in this world. So that's how things are in reality. Sanjeev Prabhuji, if
Okay.
yeah, Sanjeev Prabhuji, and then
प्रभु जी,
Yeah,
एक्चुअली मेरा
Hare Krishna.
हरे
Hare
कृष्ण।
so
Hare
Sadhana,
Krishna, Hare Krishna Prabhuji, thank
yes.
you so much for such a wonderful session. My question is, how does one explain the law of karma when it comes to a whole group of people suffering together, or for that matter, a whole nation suffering, let's say, due to a massive earthquake or a drought or war, for that matter, like what's happening in Ukraine? How does one explain the law of karma in these circumstances?
So as a nation, is basically it's like you don't have to explain it in that way, uh, because if you are a king in that country or the chief of state of that country, you have to do your duty. So this preaching is a one-to-one, is a heart-to-heart connection, is a heart-to-heart preaching. The preaching is a heart-to-heart activity. It's done at a heart-to-heart level. As a masses, we may explain something which some may follow, some may not follow. So as a head of state, you should not try to preach. You should allow that to be done by the devotees. As a head of state, you should do your duty, do your part. If some natural disaster has happened, you should provide relief. You should try to provide relief. You should try to provide medical aid, food, and try to salvage and do what best you can do to protect your people and resources. At a But that is at a group, that is at as a prime minister, as a king, you are not expected to give a speech on law of karma because of our bad past karma. But so therefore, if you see always the the Rajarshi concept came in the Rajarshi mentioned in the Bhagavad Gita. The kings always had worked in partnership with religion, with religious leaders. Vasishtha Muni and Ram was there. Chandragupta Maurya was there and Chanakya was there. So we always have two aspects to take care of. One is the gross aspect which a king takes care of, and the subtle aspect which a spiritual leader should take care of. So he may not be designated as a king, but it is his job to preach more and more and make a people aware of the philosophy of Bhagavad Gita. So both should work hand in hand, and thereby the order is displayed, order is set in the king. The king can demonstrate by his own personal example, and it's true that the people will follow him. But the preaching doesn't, it just doesn't happen by that way. There's a heart to heart, the transformation happens when there is a heart to heart connection that is established. And when people touch our heart, then we become open for transformation. Because Bhagavad Gita, learning Bhagavad Gita is not it's transformational knowledge. End of the day, we are just not expected to memorize it and mug up it and speak like what we do in vivas, oral examination, and then that we are not going to get any marks for that, any brownie credits for that. How much we are able to understand and how much are we able to implement in our life success depends on that. So it's a transformational knowledge, it's a journey which will help us transform our life, not just know 100 things and do nothing for about it. That's not the purpose of Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says that in the 10th chapter Bhagavad Gita, 8th verse, Krishna says, Aham sarvasya prabhavo matta sarvam pravartate iti matva bhajante mam. ये जिसको पता है कि I am everything comes from me, everything is emanating from me, everything has been created by me. This is knowledge, this is information, this is knowledge. And if you know this, iti matva bhajante mam, you should start performing devotional service towards me. ये नॉलेज लेके चुप नहीं बैठना है, ये नॉलेज लेके कॉन्फ्रेंसेस में भाषण नहीं देने हैं, ये नॉलेज लेके लोगों को इंप्रेस नहीं करना है. Iti matva, if you know this, know how great Krishna is, become his devotee. Iti matva bhajante mam, बुधा भाव समन्विता. अगर कोई मेरा भजन करना शुरू करता है, एनीबडी बिकम्स माय डिवोटी बाय नोइंग अबाउट माय ग्रेटनेस, सच ए पर्सन इज बुधा. बुधा इज वाइज, otherwise you are mudha, that is foolish. Uh, so these are two different activities. It can be explained, but the transformation that is expected after giving this knowledge comes when someone touches our heart, and that happens through one to one preaching. So it could be very desirable that we can give a big speech and the whole nation becomes devotee. Well, it's not going to happen. So
Thank
that
you.
is, yeah. Thank you so much,
Thank
Prabji,
you.
for a wonderful question.
Thank you
Swapnil
so much,
Prabji,
Prabhu. Thank you.
Swapnil Prabji, if you have any question.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Dandavat Pranam. Prabhuji, the session was really very nice because it now gives me opportunity to understand how I can improve upon myself. And absolutely, uh, it makes us think where we can be, where we could be, and where we want to be. So, thank you very much for the very nice session. Prabhuji, my question is basically uh, this kind of dwan or this kind of categories, we find it in all yugas, where we had Ram, where we had Ravan, and we see there was a battle. In Mahabharata, we saw there were Pandavas, there were Kauravas, there was Duryodhan, and then Shri Krishna was always there. So, if this kind of dwan happens, and now when you say this in Kali Yuga, that dwand is within us, that goodness and badness is within oneself, within our own, and that we need to fight upon. Uh, Prabhuji, the question is, if I want to leave this cycle of birth and death, and if I'm subject to these kind of one, then I may happen to pass from one category to another category. So, can I still improve upon, and can I still attain the lotus feet, or only the pure devotees can attain the lotus feet, Prabhuji? Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Dandavat Pranam, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. So the opportunity to become devotee, good devotee, pure devotee, is equally available to everyone. So in the same verse, Krishna says that. So it's like we call it impartially partial Krishna. Krishna is partial to his devotees, but he is given opportunity to become devotee to everyone, irrespective of your caste, creed, nationality, education, economic level, without any restrictions. He has given open offer to everyone to become his devotee. And Krishna says, then whosoever becomes his devotee, he favors them. So to that extent, it's available to everyone, all of us. And the fact that we are connected with Bhagavad Gita, the fact that we are connected with devotees, the fact that we are connected, we are doing japa, we are connected with ISKCON, we are connected with some temple, some group of devotees. Uh, that's also a sign of mercy. Look at it, appreciate that, and switch to maximize zone. Switch to the maximize zone, and try and stay in that zone as much as you can. Even if you come to the below zone, tolerate, but never leave up, never give up your devotional activities. So that's how we can continue to work hard on our devotional service in this lifetime. And with Krishna's grace, with Krishna's mercy, we can attain Krishna at the end of this life as well.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Thank you very much, Prabhuji. Hare
Yeah,
Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Praji. Yes, Praji.
Yeah, yeah. So I just have a small question. Like I also send a message in the chat box. कि suppose like we say कि भाग्य से ज्यादा और समय से पहले किसी को मिला नहीं, right? So this is like what we say. So then after like we have to do the karma like manually or we have to like say कि let it be, जो हो रहा है just होने दो, क्योंकि जो लिखा है और जो मिलेगा तो मिलना ही है, लिखा ही है. So then also we have to do the karma, or like little bit I'm confusing about this some small thing.
So the karma we will never quit, right? We will have to do activities. And जैसे आपने बोला कि भाग्य में जो है वो तो आएगा. What it implies is there will today I'm in a healthy state. Okay, I'm staying in a nice home. It doesn't mean that I will always remain healthy. हमें प्रॉब्लम्स आते कहाँ से हैं? फाइनेंशियल प्रॉब्लम आते हैं, हेल्थ रिलेटेड इश्यूज आते हैं, वर्क रिलेटेड इशू आते हैं, बिजनेस रिलेटेड इश्यूज आते हैं, रिलेशनशिप रिलेटेड इश्यूज आते हैं. हम इसलिए दुखी नहीं होते हैं कि कल कोई अफ्रीका में लोग भूखे मर रहे इसके लिए हम दुखी नहीं होते. थोड़े से बुरा लग सकता है, बट generally our problems come when our world gets impacted primarily. इंडिया हारने से हम थोड़े से दुखी होते हैं, बट देन इवेंचुअली वी मूव ऑन, करेक्ट. So this our source of problem is we ourselves. So during that time, we if we stop doing what we are supposed to do, if we stop doing good, then we will aggravate our problems, we'll multiply our problems. प्रॉब्लम्स आज नहीं है बट कल आ सकते हैं, एंड दैट फॉर दैट थिंकिंग कि कल ऐसे भी प्रॉब्लम आना है तो मैं आज अच्छी चीजें क्यों करूं, एंड देन आई गिव अप गुड एंड स्टार्ट डूइंग बैड, देन आई विल आई एम ऑल्सो not only sowing seed for the future bad actions, future bad reactions to come, but even even my present will become suffering. So for example, अगर किसी बोल सकता है कि ये हो सकता है कि इन फ्यूचर में जाके मुझे कैंसर हो. नाउ आई हैव नॉट स्मोकन इन माय होल लाइफ, सो व्हाट शुड आई डू? शुड आई कंटिन्यू टू स्मोक? शुड आई take up smoking, or should I continue to not smoke? Now if I smoke, I will my present will become bad, because by smoking that tobacco, आज जो मेरा healthy immune system है, whatever the health that I have retained, even that will get spoiled. I will start coughing, I will start and so my present health immune system will get disturbed by if I change from non-smoking to smoking. And also this will eventually create a bad reaction for me in future. So we should never give up doing our part of doing right thing. So we should find out what is right, and we should keep doing those things only. And that's what we saw from the examples. Lord Ram did what was right in both situations. Vasudev did what was right in the situation where he found himself. Similarly, Karna started doing wrong things because wrong happened to me, मैं भी गलत करूंगा. So with that mentality, he started doing wrong. He was doing right most of his life, started doing wrong. Vidura, though suffered a lot, of humiliation, and he was humiliated a lot by Duryodhan often. But he suffered, but he never went on the other side. He kept doing good, kept doing good, kept doing good. So we see this example. If we analyze these examples, the clear message that comes out is never stop doing good thing. Find out what is good and keep doing it. So
Okay,
so that's
Prabhuji,
all,
I
that's all.
got it. Yeah,
Okay,
thanks.
thank you so much, Ajay. Sadhna Mataji also had a question.
यस प्रभु जी। प्रभु जी, अभी ऐसा आपने बोला ना, मतलब मुझे किसी ने कहा है ऐसा, कि जो कुछ खाते नहीं है, पीते नहीं है, मतलब एक एक इंसान का एग्जांपल दिया था कि वो कुछ खाते नहीं है, उनको ऐसा ऐसा इतना इतना हेल्थ प्रॉब्लम्स हो गया, सब खाने वाले अच्छे हैं करके वो थोड़ा हंस रहे थे, मतलब ऐसा थोड़ा मजा कर रहे थे। तो उनको फिर वो मतलब वो समझ में नहीं आ रहा कि वो छोड़ना नहीं चाहता है। वो ठीक, वो छोड़ना नहीं चाहता है इसलिए बोला, या फिर मुझे हद करने के लिए बोला, कैसे तो बोला। फिर मैंने तो सोचा मुझे नहीं करना है तो नहीं, मैं तो अभी मुझे पता चला ना ऐसा नहीं करना, तो इसलिए मैं नहीं कर रही थी। लेकिन वो ऐसा बोलते रहते ऐसा कभी कभी कि जो खाते पीते हैं कुछ नहीं है ऐसा, जो नॉन वेज वगैरह, तो उन लोग ही अच्छा रहता है करके हंस रहते हैं। उनको क्या बोले कि क्या करें ऐसा।
करेक्ट। सो उसके लिए माता जी, वी शुड अंडरस्टैंड व्हाई वी डू व्हाट वी डू। जैसे हमने पिछले सेशन में भी ये इसके ऊपर ना काफी डिस्कशन किया था कि वी डिस्कस अबाउट फिलोसफी एंड रिलीजन। हम नॉनवेज ना खाना, वी गिव अप मीट ईटिंग, इज अ रिलीजन। रिलीजन मीन्स एक सेट ऑफ एक्शंस करना। सो सेट ऑफ एक्शंस क्या करते हैं डिवोटी व्हेन दे कम टेक अप कृष्णा कॉन्शियसनेस सीरियसली? दे फॉलो फोर रेगुलेटरी प्रिंसिपल्स। वो मीट ईटिंग दे गिव अप, and the other things, alcohol, meat eating, illicit sex, and all these things, they gambling, these things they give up. And then they start waking up early in the morning. They do japa in the morning. They they visit dham. They get engaged in सेवा। अलग अलग तरीके से वो भक्ति करने का प्रयास करते हैं, भोग लगा के खाते हैं, भक्तों के साथ रहते हैं, कीर्तन करते हैं, मंदिर जाते हैं, दंडवत करते हैं, डिवोटी का सम्मान करते हैं। these things they start doing, so they stop doing something, they start doing something। और कार्तिक आएगा तो धूप की धूप का दिया लगाते हैं, ये गाते हैं, वो गाते हैं, वी सिंग, वी डू सो मेनी थिंग्स। सो दिस इज रिलीजन, दिस इज ऑल कंबाइंड, इज कॉल्ड रिलीजन। एंड उसका नाउ ये रिलीजन को, ये सेट ऑफ एक्टिविटीज, ये जो हम नहीं करते हैं और करते हैं इन कृष्ण कॉन्शियसनेस, इसके पीछे कोई रीजन होता है। और हर चीज का रीजन होता है, एंड वी शुड अंडरस्टैंड बोथ। रीजन भी पता होना चाहिए और क्या करना वो भी पता चलना चाहिए, और हमको वो करना चाहिए। अगर नॉनवेज ना खाने का रीजन, सिंपल रीजन नहीं पता, प्रभात लिखते हैं एक सेकंड चैप्टर के वर्स में कि यू हैव नो अथॉरिटी टू किल। सिंपली सिंपल, अ जज किसी को फांसी की सजा देता है, उसको रिएक्शन नहीं मिलती है क्योंकि ही इज गिविंग पनिशमेंट अकॉर्डिंग टू द लॉ। A soldier is killing on the battlefield, he gets reward क्योंकि he is killing not because उसकी दुश्मनी है, because he is given authority to kill. So more he kill, better, bigger reward he may get. But the same soldier come home and kill his neighbor in a small battle, small quarrel, he will be punished because this is where he has acted without authority. Animals also, we have no authority to kill. भगवान गीता में बोलते हैं 14वें श्लोक में, थर्ड चैप्टर के 14वें श्लोक में, दैट अन्नाद भवति भूतानि पर्जन्यात अन्न संभवः। अन्नाद भवति भूतानि, that the living entities should subsist on grains, anna. And what kind of grain? The grain that is produced by rain. Annat bhavati parjanyat anna sambhava. Parjanya means rain. So जो घास फूस, basically घास फूस, fruit, and so that is what we are supposed to eat. You have no authority to kill other living entity, and especially for the you for the purpose of food, because you have, this is your food, prescribed food is given by Krishna, patram pushpam phalam toyam. So we have no authority to kill, and hence we should not kill. If you know the reason, they may say whatever they have to say, it should not disturb, you should not get disturbed. maybe you can think how you will send across this message to them so that they also learn this and they start following what you are doing. Our mood should be that. But if our philosophical understanding is weak, then हमें वो सच लगने लगेगा कि हाँ, कि हम चिकन मटन नहीं खाएंगे तो वीक हो जाएंगे. नहीं होते वीक, कोई वीक नहीं होता है. And whatever you need, you get it from those grains. It's sufficient for us to do whatever we have to do. सो हमें फिलोसॉफिकल अंडरस्टैंडिंग बढ़ानी है, तो उसके लिए भगवत गीता पढ़नी है, भागवत पढ़नी है, क्लासेस अटेंड करने हैं रेगुलरली, एंड देन अवर 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 फेथ बिकम्स फर्म, बट अवर नॉलेज ऑल्सो बिकम फर्म. अवर फेथ बिकम्स is on the foundation of our knowledge. Without foundation, ये fanaticism हो जाएगा. Yesterday somebody was telling कि when you learn science you fly aeroplanes, and when you follow religion you fly those aeroplanes into towers. They are referring to the say the 9/11 incidents where two aircrafts were flown into two towers in New York, and that created a havoc. So many people got killed. So this is a wrong understanding of religion, because you don't understand philosophy. Those people did what they did because they had wrong understanding of philosophy. They couldn't understand philosophy correctly. So the Hitler killed so many Jews. He didn't fail that he's doing anything wrong. He thought anyway these Jews are impious people. Anyway, they are Shudras, and they cannot go back to Godhead. They have no hope. So let me kill them, and hopefully they will be born in a better community. They can be born as as Aryan. The Hitler considered himself as Aryan. So they may get a better birth and become better devotees like us. So he was killing Jews mercilessly. So हमें फिलोसफी का भी ज्ञान होना चाहिए. That, and with understanding we should practice Krishna consciousness. And अगर किसी में doubt है तो we should keep asking devotees की, we should take their guidance. Okay, माता जी.
यस प्रभु जी, मतलब मुझे, मैं जान गई करके मैं उनको कुछ बोली नहीं, मुझे ऐसा लगा कि अभी मैं आपको समझा नहीं पाऊंगी कि ऐसा नहीं
And that
करना
is
चाहिए.
okay. कि क्या होता है कि not everything we may hear 100 things, but हम repeat नहीं कर सकते. Sometimes because of our that is also skill ना, कि कोई draw अच्छा कर सकता है, कोई अच्छा painting कर सकता है. Somebody may not be able to paint properly. Now जो हमारा skill है हमको वो करना है. भगवान को भगवान if we know, if we are convinced, then we should continue to practice, ignore and tolerate other people's remark if need be.
थोड़ा
But
बुरा
if
लगता
possible, if possible, engage, connect those with some other devotees. Maybe they will be able to explain. Sometime we may try to explain. Um, it's up to us, time, place, circumstances. But अगर नहीं कर पा रहे तो we should feel sorry for them कि
है,
आपके
हाँ
लिए बुरा
वैसा
हो
भी
रहा है,
लगता
and
है.
then we should move on. We can't do much about it. We should
वो
continue to
फैमिली मेंबर्स
practice.
है ना, फिर मुझे थोड़ा बुरा लग जाता है
It's
कि
okay.
उल्टा एक तो कर रहे नहीं है, ऊपर से ऐसे और भी मतलब सिर में गिर रहा है,
It's
फिर
okay. Our
हम कुछ भी
family
नहीं कर
members,
पाते हैं ऐसा.
they are there to give us our karma back, our karmic reactions back. So वो करेंगे कुछ ना कोई तो होगा हमारे to help us remember Krishna more intensely. Because of them, you should remember, become drudha vrata in practicing Krishna consciousness. Looking at them, you should become more committed to practice. Ritika Mataji, and then Swapnil
तो
Bhaji,
मुझे
you
थैंक यू
have a
वेरी मच.
question?
हरे कृष्ण.
Yes, Ritika Mataji, yeah, Hare Krishna Mataji. You have a question?
हरे कृष्णा प्रभु जी, सादर प्रणाम. प्रभु जी, आपकी क्लास बहुत ही शिक्षाप्रद थी प्रभु जी. प्रभु जी, मेरा क्वेश्चन ऐसा है कि प्रेजेंट टाइम में हम सारे एक्शन हमारे पॉजिटिव रहते हैं, बट सामने से रिजल्ट जो आता है वो निगेटिव आता है प्रभु जी. तो क्या होता है, हमारी श्रद्धा थोड़ा कम हो जाता है. ज्यादा करके सीनियर से अगर ऐसे होता है ना, तो श्रद्धा कम हो जाती है प्रभु जी. तो हमें इस चीज को कैसे देखना चाहिए? सीनियर्स के प्रति भी हम प्रूफ कर देते कि हम इस बार ने हमने पॉजिटिव एक्शन थे, हमारे मन का तन का सारा भाव अच्छा है. उनको भी बाद में रियलाइज होता है कि हाँ माता जी सही कह रही है, बट आपका टेस्ट हो गया, ऐसा बोलते हैं. बट हमारे टेस्ट में हमारे कोई सीनियर्स भी शामिल हुए हैं, तो हमें प्रभु जी और दुख लगता है और श्रद्धा पे चोट पहुंचती है, तो वही एसोसिएशन में भक्ति कैसे करे प्रभु जी?
So you can discuss, Mataji. You can you have my number, Mataji, by any chance, or you want to give my number? I will give my number. What we
एक
can,
मिनट प्रभु जी, एक मिनट, मैं लिख के
हाँ
देती हूँ प्रभु जी।
हाँ, और I'll just type my number in the chat box. आपको note कर सकते हैं,
हाँ हाँ,
and we can then discuss.
ओके।
So you can take down this number
ओके
9819091701. You can message me, send me a WhatsApp message, and then we can discuss a specific question with reference to the specific situation. Is that
ओके
okay?
प्रभु जी, थैंक यू सो मच प्रभु जी। प्रभु जी आज बात कर सकते हैं?
आज बात कर सकते हैं माता जी।
कौन से टाइम पे
3
आप फ्री
o'clock,
होंगे?
4 o'clock is fine.
ओके ओके प्रभु जी, थैंक यू सो मच।
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
हरे कृष्ण।
So there are no more questions. We can conclude today's session. Thank you everyone for staying back and having a nice interactive session. Um, it's supposed to be a it's supposed to give us more inclination, more reference points to analyze our own life, understand our own life, and that's what our intention is. So hopefully you could get something out of this today's session, and which can give more directions to your life maybe. So Kanchan Mother, you have a question?
No, Prabhuji, Chandra Mohan ji has written one message in the chat that he has one small doubt. Srila Prabhupada did exceptional things in his lifetime. However, he went through a lot of challenges before he could do so many things. So, do we say that a negative past and the positive present, but he was a blessed soul, else he could not do what he did. So, do we term as a positive past and positive present? Then why did he go through so many challenges? Forgive my ignorance, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Okay. So Chandraman Prabhu, you're there, Avi? Or he's left already? Maybe he might have left. But in general, we can speak and we can do a separate session on Srila Prabhupada pastime. Uh, so, so yes, it's true. We often see in the life of acharyas, in the life of, in fact, all the characters of Srimad Bhagavatam. Take for example Prahlad Maharaj. Prahlad Maharaj, what was his fault? He was being targeted by his father. What was his fault? He was remembering Vishnu. And instead of worshipping his father, he was remembering Vishnu. भगवान का ही तो चिंतन कर रहे थे वो. For now, this we will want to do. We will want somebody to do this. But here, he was being targeted. He suffered enormously at the hand of his father for doing right thing. So one can say it could be because of his past karma, and it could be as a part of pastime. When a play is written, when a pastime is written, it is written in such a way that it can become an example for others to follow. So if pastime is if pa- in the pastime if and in the pastime there will always be ups and downs. There will always be just like in a movie there will always be a villain who will trying to prevent the hero and heroine from meeting and and having a good relationship, having good time. So that villain will always be there. Now what does it do? It adds spice in the overall movie. Similarly, uh, if everything is very straightforward, we may not really it may not become a exemplary lesson to us in any way. We may not be able to learn anything from it. For example, another pastime is Putna pastime. We can't learn anything from Putna pastime because Lord is Lord. What he did, no other 2-year-old, 3-year-old, 3-day baby can do. So these pastimes are to make us are to demonstrate Krishna's greatness, how great Krishna is. But we can't really become like Krishna. We can't. So we should just develop our attraction and appreciation towards Krishna by learning these pastimes. But pastimes like Prabhupada are the learning pastimes. Now we should learn from this pastime that even a great soul like Prabhupada had to suffer 70 years of his life before he could make one disciple, before he could initiate one disciple. So if someone today, if we expect, if by chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra for two years, if we expect transformational changes in our life, yeah, we should think again that Prabhupada for success came at the age of 71 for Prabhupada. And despite of leading an exemplary Vaishnava life, and if we having taken to Krishna consciousness for 1 year, if we start expecting magic in our life, so this is how we learn. We learn from the life of Srila Prabhupada, and that is what help us cope with our own challenges of today's time. uh, Prabhupada was a pure soul, that's true, but Prabhupada also struggled hard. So Prabhupada said that I will speak, even if one person comes, I will speak to him. Even if nobody comes, I will still speak to the walls, because it's for my purification. But that doesn't mean that Prabhupada didn't try getting as many people as possible. No, he tried. Before the class, he would try his best to spread the message about the class, inform people about the class, remind them, come, 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 come. He may tell 100 people and maybe one or two people would turn up, but whoever would come, Prabhupada would speak with the same enthusiasm with them as if he would speak with 100 people. But he would try, and that's what we learn, that in when we function in bhakti, in devotional service, these are all lessons for us. And by learning these lessons, we can become committed in our sadhana. So that's how we can understand Srila Prabhupada pastime. Okay. Thank you so much, Mataji, for pointing out this question. I had
One
missed
more
it.
question is there from
Yes, ma'am.
Leno Tab M10. How one becomes thief by not paying obeisances to Sri Krishna?
How one become thief by because we have taken everything from Sri Krishna. Now, our body is made up of elements which are provided by Sri Krishna. We we are already thief. We have already stolen everything. Because of our desire, we have been provided these bodies. Plus, every day we are extracting Krishna's property. We are using his sun, we are using his moon, we are using rain that he provides, we are using grains which gets the crop which comes because of his mercy. So we are already indebted to him. So by paying obeisances, we just acknowledge that at the basic level that everything is possible because of you. It and if we don't do that also, the bare minimum etiquette also, if we don't follow, it just show bad on ourself. Doesn't make Krishna small, but it makes us pathetic. So we should pay obeisances to Krishna.
Also, Amit Prabhuji have mentioned that he want to ask the question, but I think he
Amit,
has not
I
raised
think
the hand,
yes.
so
No,
maybe
Amit
I missed
spoke.
out.
Amit Prabhuji, I think he asked a question. I hope Amit Prabhuji, there's no more question you have. I hope there's no other question, but apart from Amit Prabhuji had asked a question already. So let's conclude. It's almost 1:45. So sorry about the delay and extended time. And really
Thank
apologize
you
for
so much
that.
for a wonderful
But
and insightful session, Prabhuji, as always.
yeah, thank you so much for staying back and actively participating, all of you. Let's pray for for our own progress in Krishna consciousness. Split to Lord Jagannath, Baldev Subhadra Mai ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanande, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Hari Bol, Hare Krishna, Hare
Hari Bol,
Krishna.
Prabhuji.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Hare
Thank you,
Krishna.
Prabhu. Thank you.
Thank you, Prabhuji.